Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 5 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
The Pineapple Express weather event is here, and it's dropping a consistent flow of rain over northern Utah.
KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston begins our live team coverage, Utah's Water Watch. Peter?
Amanda, the moisture is here, even though it's lost a lot of steam since dumping buckets over the west coast. I'm looking at the National Weather Service's latest Utah map, and it's showing winter weather advisories along the Wasatch Corridor from Richfield to Logan. Southern Utah is still experiencing the brunt of this storm, with the winter storm warnings in place from St. George to Cedar City. Now, the precipitation is going to shift north as we head into the afternoon, and we're also going to be seeing another storm coming in on Monday. KSL's Matt Johnson says the rainfall and snow is great for boosting reservoirs and drinking water this summer. Now, we also have more coverage on the Great Salt Lake. A Utah lawmaker has introduced a new bill aimed at making sure the water we save for the Great Salt Lake actually gets there. KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with the details. Adam?
Peter, there is technology today tracking how much water, for example, gets to Utah Lake, but there isn't anything like that for the Great Salt Lake yet, which is a huge part of what water managers of the Great Salt Lake want to do in the long term to save it. And that's exactly what Representative Casey Snyder wants to be a part of. Snyder tells the Deseret News his new bill just introduced would be a holistic plan for all people using upstream water that heads to the Great Salt Lake. And while this could be big for the long-term health of saving the lake, getting water there, it won't necessarily be easy. Snyder says he plans to ask for around $15 million to get this set up. Live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Jan Graham, Utah's first and only female attorney general, died on Monday at her home in St. George. She was 74, and her election in 1996 marked the last time a Democrat won a statewide office. She'd been battling cancer since 2014.
KSL's top national story this hour. The January jobs numbers will be out later today. ABC's Andy Field with a preview.
A survey of economists predicting the U.S. will likely gain more than 176,000 jobs in January, which would be far fewer than December's 216,000, another number that could be revised lower. If that economic forecast is right, the unemployment rate could rise slightly from 3.7 to 3.8%. The Labor Department releasing January's jobs numbers later this morning.
In December, the U.S. economy added 216,000 jobs, while the unemployment rate unexpectedly remained flat at 3.7%.
As President Biden wraps up his re-election campaign, he's running into some resistance in a state that helped secure his 2020 victory. On Thursday, Biden was met by pro-Palestinian protesters the moment he landed in Michigan. Here's sound from that moment. Michigan is home to the largest Arab American community in the U.S.
Is there any appetite to undo the change that made the state school board elections partisan? KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris posed that question to the woman behind the change 8 years ago.
20 Utahns are all vying for the 8 open seats that will be filled by the end of this year. And this will be the 4th time the elections will be held as partisan races. While some would like the elections to return to nonpartisan, the sponsor of the 2016 bill, Senator Ann Milner, says the partisan races have helped in the vetting process of candidates, allowing Utahns to know more about who is running. She says the races will remain partisan for now.
Primary elections are on June 25th, with general elections on November 5th.
A year after vandals unwittingly helped an owl escape the Central Park Zoo, he's still on the loose. Flacco, the Eurasian eagle owl, has only gotten better at staying out of the hands of his pursuers in time since he flew out a hole in his enclosure. A year later, the zoo has given up trying to catch him, and I guess he's a big celebrity around Manhattan.
Well, he's like single-handedly handling the rat population.
I know, and it's become such a problem. Maybe they ought to consider, releasing
a flock of owls,
a flock of Flaccos.
That's funny. First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
Well, wet conditions, the story of the morning so far. As far as crashes go, we only have one close to Salt Lake. It's on South 15 in Davis County, North Salt Lake. Looks like they're forcing you to the right out of at least the left couple of lanes. But it is a very wet drive everywhere between Provo and Ogden, so be really careful. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
We all know that skimming credit card numbers at a gas station is a problem, but the amount thieves get from that is staggering. A Utah man will serve prison time for helping 5 other people steal more than $200,000 over 3 years just by skimming cards. Emmanuel Nina Perez was sentenced this week to 2 years in federal prison.
An organization that helps refugees in the Beehive State is asking for our help.
Utah Refugee Connection is putting together Valentine's kits for school kids.
We are collecting class kits for refugee children. For a lot of them, this is a newer holiday and might not be as familiar, and so we like to give them a package of the Valentines like every other kid takes to school and puts in the Valentine boxes in class.
Executive Director Amy Don Harmer says in addition to these kits, they're taking $12 donations to put together reusable lunch bags that have a Valentine's kit, socks, a knit hat, gloves, and heart-shaped glasses to help them better understand the holiday. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
In sports, although I'm sure the winner of our lower bowl seats last night did their share of cheering.
Yeah.
They did their part. The Jazz did not. They lost by 3 points to the 76ers at home. Philly was without Joel Embiid, but it didn't slow him down. Tyrese Maxey scored 51 points against the Jazz, and they lost by 3.
When you get that hot, what are you going to do?
127-124.
The Deer Valley World Cup is happening this week in Park City. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson reports.
Among the top ski athletes in attendance are the siblings of a Park City family, the Masugas. 3 sisters are on the U.S. ski team, including Allie with her family cheering on Thursday night. The women's freestyle moguls, Lauren, Allie's sister, just returned from Cortina, Italy, competing at the Audi Ski World Cup.
It was my first time doing the downhill there, and I ended up getting 16th, 22nd, and then in the Super G got 15th.
Sister Sam just competed in the ski jump at Yubno, and their brother Daniel is vying for a spot to join his sisters Sam, Lauren, and Allie on the U.S. ski team as well. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
Yeah, let me just throw in here, if you want to feel a little of the Olympic spirit, get up there because it's free. You don't have to ski. You can park there and then just walk up to the venues. They're right there at the base of the mountain in Deer Valley.
It's fun.
They'll have events tonight and tomorrow night. Utah's lawmakers are working to bring an MLB town to Utah, and Larry H. and Gail Miller Family Foundation has committed $22 million to boost Salt Lake's ballpark neighborhood. The Salt Lake Bees are looking to raise $100 million to redevelop the area.
Looks like we have a southbound crash on I-15 that's blocking 3 lanes in North Salt Lake. We'll check that and find out what's going on just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Spend time with KSL News Radio and get a deeper understanding of the world around us.
I do listen to KSL so much because you've got voices like Boyd Matheson.
I listen to him every day.
You can trust him.
Inside Sources, weekdays 1 to 3.
On KSL News Radio.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's been all over the news.
Blood banks across the country are facing critical shortages.
The levels at Utah's blood banks are critical.
Right now, we're facing a critical shortage of blood.
KSL News Radio has teamed up with ARUP Blood Services in Sandy this February to help you find your perfect match. Listen for uplifting stories about the miracle of blood donation and learn how you can help save a life. Find your perfect match. Give blood. More details at KSLNewsRadio.com.
Hey folks, it's Doug and Kathy with Window World.
Doug, can you believe it's been 20 years?
What's been 20 years?
Well, since we opened our first Window World store.
That is amazing. Our motto today is the same. Quality products, professionally installed, backed up by our awesome warranty.
And our team shares those very same values.
Come see us today. We have stores in Murray and Spanish Fork for your convenience.
Experience the Window World difference. Call 801-281-8111 or visit WindowWorldUtah.com.
And we promise no baloney.
We've got new rain to talk about this morning. Actually, snow in the mountains, and it's interesting that a question being posed up on Utah's Capitol Hill is how much of that water that we're trying to set aside and make sure it gets to the Great Salt Lake actually gets there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know how you figured that out exactly, but we'll continue to follow the story this morning with our Adam Small. 5:09. We'll see how that's affecting the drive first thing this morning. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Tim. This is one of those days where you kick up the spray behind you and whatever car's in front of you makes it hard to see, so be careful. So far, the weather hasn't created any crashes in the Salt Lake Valley, but speeds just seem to be a little under the speed limit on parts of I-15 going from Draper to downtown, so your drive time may just be increased by a few minutes, at least at this early stage. Jason?
So far, volume is light up north, and that's a good thing because we do have this accident southbound side of I-15 with 3 left lanes blocked. Just before you get to the oil refineries is where you're going to find that, and you're going to want to move over to the right. A little bit slow through that area. Also, wet roads are just making things slow in general. Eric?
And we got precipitation into the mountains if you're going through Parley's Canyon. I-80 does have some westbound slowing up over the top of Parley Summit. That's probably not weather-related. That's probably heavy semis struggling up the hill. But be careful out there. There's a rain-snow mix happening. I-15 Utah County, northbound, southbound, they're running at normal speeds there. Prioritize your marriage and celebrate your relationship. Celebrate with a virtual date at the Utah Marriage Celebration, Friday, February 9th. Register at StrongerMarriage.com. That's StrongerMarriage.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looks like a wet Friday shaping up. 45 today with off and on rain. Overnight we'll go 34 with a chance for rain snow showers. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance for a shower. 42 the high. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Rain in the valley, some snow in the mountains. It's warm, though, 45 degrees, and that's the forecast high for today.
Wow. What a difference a day makes. So there is a teenager in Arizona. We want to tell you about him. He is paying tribute to the donor who gave him his heart by being the best wrestler he can be.
Oh, my gosh.
More on this story just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Inspiring story coming up next. Remember, you'll find us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Dave and Debbie.
I want our listeners to feel like they have an advocate, that they have somebody that's going to fight for them, challenge the status quo or the pithy soundbite. We have a unique job where we have access to interviews and people that not everyone has. We take that seriously. So if we do feel like we're getting a spin, then we can challenge it. I love it when people tell me, I was just thinking about that question that you asked. I'm glad you asked that question. That's like the height of compliment.
I want our listeners to feel empowered to use the information that they've learned on the Dave and Dujanovic show to help their families, to help make good decisions, help investigate other avenues to maybe protect their family's safety or protect their family's money. I'm hopeful our show leaves our listeners with a sense of empowerment so they can make the best decision possible for themselves and for their families.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 5:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
20 Utahns are racing to fill one of the 8 vacant seats on the Utah State Board of Education this year, in what will be the 4th year of partisan elections. I'm KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris.
Second, a cougar was relocated after being found lounging in a tree in West Valley. The big cat was found near 40th South and 52nd West.
Third, a look at traffic and weather together.
I-15 traffic has got a crash southbound in North Salt Lake, although at this point delay is minimal. The wet roads are what's slowing you down this morning so far. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Off and on rain today, a break over the weekend, then more rain. I'm Matt Johnson.
We've got rain right now and 43 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Let's get a look at our top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The U.S. continuing to weigh options and timing for a retaliatory strike against those who carried out the drone attack on U.S. service members in Jordan. ABC's Martha Raddatz in Amman says we do know there will be multiple strikes carried out against the Iranian-backed militia group.
A U.S. official telling ABC News militants and their weapons in Iraq, Syria, and possibly Yemen, all on the list of likely targets for retaliation.
Iran itself, however, not an expected target. The dignified transfer of those soldiers remains happening today at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. A huge fireball inferno in Kenya's capital of Nairobi. A vehicle carrying gasoline exploded. As of now, we know 3 were killed, nearly 300 hurt. Several fatalities as well, but we don't know how many yet after a small plane whose pilot had radioed in engine trouble crashed into a mobile home park in Clearwater, Florida. Rick Renner saw it happen.
We heard a loud noise, which we thought was like a motorcycle going by. And then a few seconds later, there was a big boom, shook the house, shook the windows.
Police are still on the scene. We should know more today. It's February 2nd, which means in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania right now, they are getting ready for Groundhog's Day. But come on, how accurate is Phil really? Here's ABC's Andy Field.
Punxsutawney Phil, ladies and gentlemen. It is supposed to mean an early spring if Punxsutawney Phil does not see his shadow, and you won't be surprised to learn that the groundhog has been wrong 61% of the time, about as accurate as your achy weather knee or shoulder. But Punxsutawney's favorite groundhog still forecasting the weather, and we can rest assured that actual astronomical spring will arrive on time, March 19th. Andy Field, ABC News.
Later this morning, we'll find out unemployment and jobs numbers for the month of January. You're listening to ABC News.
How about that? ABC throwing shade on Punxsutawney Phil first thing this morning. All right, an Arizona teenager will never meet the person who gave him the best present he'll ever receive, his heart.
He's paying tribute to his donor by doing what he does best, wrestling.
Overall, my life doesn't change that much. I'm still just normal.
At school and on the wrestling mat, Dylan McQueen looks like any other high school student. You'd never guess he was born with a life-threatening condition or that he would need a heart transplant before his first birthday.
He hasn't just survived, he's thrived, competing in both wrestling and track and field.
I kind of take it as an opportunity to be able to live, that I can be able to do all these sports and all these things, and it's just kind of a blessing.
His heart transplant gave him a second chance, and he's doing the most he can with it. His wrestling coach, Eric Brenton, says that Dylan never uses his heart as an excuse, even during grueling practices.
Going through the adversity that he has, he's gone through the hardest thing. He can come in that room, and if you watch him, he has a smile on his face, right? Because every day is a gift.
An all-star on and off the mat.
He is what is right with sports.
Dylan's medical team has given him the green light for all of his athletic goals, and so has his family, even when it's hard to watch.
You're watching your child who's fought symbolically through all of these other things, and here they are on the mat physically fighting.
Dylan's mom, Melissa, says despite that, she can't stand in his way.
I didn't want to tell him, no, you can't do that. No, you can't be that person. It's hard for us. Like, you know what? You're honoring your donor and your donor family by going out there and living the life that you want to live. That's what they did all of this for.
Dylan got his new heart at 8 months old.
Oh, wow.
Melissa says he's looking forward to competing in the 2024 transplant games in Alabama coming up this summer.
You know, my mom participated in the transplant games this is decades ago now. Right after she got her kidney transplant, she flew out to Los Angeles with my dad and played table tennis in the transplant games.
Isn't that something? I was just looking because I was curious about how many heart transplants took place, and I couldn't find it right at my fingertips, but I do have the overall number of organ transplants in 2023. These numbers just came out. 46,632.
Wow.
Last year alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's becoming more and more of a thing, and we see these stories from time to time where families, and they don't always connect. because there's some privacy issues involved. But if both sides, those that receive and those that gave, want to, we've seen stories of families who have lost a loved one, usually a younger person, a child, and that heart is transplanted, and they go into a room somewhere, and they actually can hear through a stethoscope the heart beating.
Oh, Tim.
Yeah, I get tearful just thinking about
Yeah.
it. Anyway, great story this morning. And for those that haven't yet to do it, maybe you want to become an organ donor and just click that box next time you get your driver's license.
Amen to that.
All right, that's the in-depth this morning at 15 and 45.
5:19, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, already seeing some reduced speeds along Mountain View, and especially that hilly stretch between 5400 and 3500 south. There's actually some southbound delay going up the hill at the moment. Traffic's also filling in already on I-15, but even though it's not too busy, the wet conditions are reducing speeds along 215 and 201, especially as you get closer to Salt Lake. Jason?
And volume is light, so that's a good thing because of this accident that we have southbound I-15 right before you get to the oil refineries in North Salt Lake. Left lanes are blocked. You're going to want to stay over to the right. Cars are getting by, but of course you're going to need to slow down there, and you just want to slow down in general due to the wet roads. Everything else is moving along, though, with no resistance. Eric?
We see some water kicking off the tires in Utah County, too, but right now you do have good movement from Payson to Point of the Mountain. It's a 28-minute drive. And getting out to the Wasatch Back, no delays right now on 189 going through Provo Canyon, and we do have wet conditions in Parley's Canyon, I-80, but the only slowing is on the westbound side right now as you head up from Jeremy Ranch over the top of the summit. Big O Tires is locally owned and operated in Utah. Now through February 19th, get up to $160 off select sets of tires after mail-in rebate. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. We've got rain today, 45 the high. Tomorrow, 42, mostly cloudy, and a slight chance for a shower. Partly cloudy, 43 on Sunday. We're back at it with rain showers on Monday, 50 the high. Up to 51, 10 above the normal on Tuesday. Rain showers likely. We keep rain in the forecast for your Wednesday. Rain snow showers by next Thursday. It looks active. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it is 45 degrees, and the 7-day forecast this morning is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
That is the sound of Punxsutawney Phil coming out of his cave there in Gobbler's Knob.
He didn't want to come out. I mean, it took him a good 3 minutes to get him to come out. So there he is.
There he is, and all of the men in tuxedos and top hats and gloves, because those Punxsutawney Phil has been known to be aggressive.
Yeah. So they're going to be, they always read this great proclamation.
Right.
You know, whether he sees his shadow. Here we go.
Phil is bigger than the Kardashians, and here we go. This is the moment, Kelly, we have been waiting for. Watch this, Kelly.
All right, here we go.
We're going to zoom into this.
Any
Take a look.
predictions, Phil? On Phil there, Nick?
Kelly, I know I'm nervous, Kelly, because I think the Team Spring may be right, but here we go.
All right.
We have a decision. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Here we go.
It's controversial whether he sees his
I'm
shadow or
hoping for
not.
spring.
They set him on top of a stump and then wait to see.
A prediction has been made, Mr. President. Hear ye, hear ye! Now on this February 2nd, Punxsutawney Phil, the seer of seers, prognosticator of all prognosticators, was awakened from his wintry nap at dawn on Gobbler's Knob. Phil looked to the skies and then, speaking in groundhogese, directed the president to the proper scroll, which reads, "Another winter slumbered pause so I could meet the crowd. Hard to sleep anyway when the party's this loud. I envy your energy. I envy the fun. I envy all of you and your opposable thumbs. But it's not what I feel, it's what I see and what you hear, so gather round and let me be clear. Atmosphere is a wonderful thing, and we can create our own and the weather it brings. It brings hope for the future and so much more. Maybe some Punxsutawney Phil write-in votes in 2024. But what this weather did not provide is a shadow or reason to hide. Glad tidings on this Groundhog Day. An early spring is on the way.
That is so great.
You don't need to tell us. We've already been through spring here for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, the buds are coming up.
All right, so he didn't see his shadow this morning.
Yeah, that's okay.
Took a while to get to the punchline there.
It does every year. They milk it.
Yeah.
Can you blame them?
These guys do love their gig every year.
They do for sure.
All right, give us a minute. We'll come back and see what's happening with Money News next.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Some things just make sense, but my dream checking account from Cyprus Credit Union makes dollars and cents. It gives me access to discounted rates on auto and RV loans, free 24/7 access to my credit score and report, and a Roundup reward savings that pays me 10% APY on the rounded up balance of every debit purchase I make. With all that and more, it's no wonder I choose Cyprus for my checking account, because some things make dollars and cents. Learn more at cypruscu.com. Cyprus Credit Union. Your future is our future. Federally insured by NCUA. Rate subject to change.
We're watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Lululemon is branching out and launching their first ever men's footwear line. The athletic apparel is growing at a slower rate than it has in the past, so it hopes the casual and performance sneaker line will boost sales.
Americans are asking, where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
New numbers from the USDA show ranchers have the least amount of cattle since the 1970s. So you know what that means in the old supply and demand.
Price is going up.
Price of beef is going to be going up. It has been for a while. They're expected to be more than $5 a pound this year.
Peloton shares fell 24% after the company warned investors it won't turn a profit for a few more months. The interactive exercise company had mixed results for the holiday quarter, but retail partnerships with Dick's Sporting Goods and Amazon turned some good results.
The Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ all finished up right around 1%, or a little bit better, 1.3 in the case of the NASDAQ. And today, more green numbers. The Dow on the plus side by 46. The S&P is up 31, which is another 0.6. And the NASDAQ is up 180 so far this morning.
We've got rain. That means wet roads along the Wasatch Front. Lanes still block southbound I-15 in North Salt Lake. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Now we know.
November 9th, 2024, BYU and Utah will play in Salt Lake City.
281 days until the rivalry game.
Touchdown, Cougars!
281 days of anticipation.
And the Cougs are right back in it.
Hear about the key matchups and feel all the emotion on this station. We are Utah's legacy home for the Cougars, Big 12 football, and Rivalry Week. KSL News Radio.
529 means traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Back over to Andy Farnsworth.
Well, Tim, no crashes in Salt Lake County yet, but the rain is slowing you down, especially along Mountain View on the west side and along 215, which always seems to struggle when the roads get really wet. Not just snowy, but when it actually gets rained on. So be careful going along the South Belt and up the west side towards the airport. Jason?
And roads are also wet up north, and we have this accident south side of I-15 as you're heading towards the oil refineries. Left lanes are blocked. Stay over to the right. Go a little bit slow because of the wet roads. Eric?
And if you're rolling along the East Belt, northbound from Cottonwood Heights up to the mouth of the canyon, we're not seeing any delay spots. You do have wet roads going out through the mountains, so be careful going through Parley's Canyon on I-80, but right now no major delays. Down in Utah County, I-15 cruising along, despite the wet conditions, at pretty much a normal pace from Provo to Lehigh. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Yep, we've got rain today for sure. 90% chance of rain all day. In fact, a little of it'll last into tomorrow. Today's high, 45 degrees, 42 tomorrow, 43, and then some more sunshine on Sunday. But then more rain comes in the first part of next week and sticks around for the majority of the week. Look at that. Monday, we'll have rain. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, rain all week. And the highs will get back up into the 50s on Monday. Right now it is raining and 43 downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio.
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 5:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
Authorities in West Valley City were able to help track a cat stuck in a tree. A very big cat.
And it comes in a winter when big cat sightings have been on the rise. KSL News Radio's Adam Small joins us live with details. Adam?
Amanda, residents near 40th South and 5200 West last night definitely had a night to remember.
Kind of seen the tail move. I'm like, that's a freaking mountain lion.
Daniel tells the West Valley City Fire Department he was just out trying to make a phone call, but he happens to look up at the tree and sees a full-grown mountain lion in this neighborhood in West Valley. He ends up calling authorities. Wildlife Resources comes in and actually tranquilized the big cat. But he didn't come down from the tree like they thought he would. So fire crews actually had to pull him down, get him out of the tree. DWR has since released the cat back into the wild. And again, this is a winter where warm weather is potentially helping mountain lions not only traverse the landscape, but they're having to range farther to look for food as some animals come down into the valley. So remember, if you see one, just call authorities. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A sinkhole in Sandy flooded homes and left crews with their hands full. KSL TV's Andrew Adams reports.
Long after dark, crews were working tirelessly to replace what had suddenly vanished. The 25-foot wide, possibly 25-foot deep sinkhole taught this neighborhood some hard lessons. Angela Profsgaard says she came outside to find a river gushing down Silver Sage Drive.
Flooded residents are grateful that is, for how hard crews responded to the flooding.
New 16-year-old and 17-year-old drivers in Utah have to wait 6 months before they can drive their peers. One lawmaker is pushing to remove that waiting period. Here is KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston with more. Peter?
Yeah, Amanda, the law currently blocks teen drivers from bringing anyone who's not immediately family in the car with them for 6 months after they get their license.
Our kids are doing this. They are driving with other friends, and they're breaking the law, so maybe the law should change.
That's State Representative Kira Birkeland who's sponsoring this bill. KSL TV reports her original plan was to remove any restrictions on the number of people a 16 or 17-year-old could put in their car, but she compromised.
Let them pick up a friend, but they still have to obey all the speeding laws. They still have to be safe drivers.
The Driving by Minors amendments got out of the House committee favorably and now goes to the House floor for a vote. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
A political action committee is crying foul about how the new Utah state flag was adopted. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has that story. Michael?
Tim, this packet's called Are You Listening Yet? And they're saying the whole process of adopting the new flag went all wrong. Mainly, they argue entire packets of signatures to restore the old flag were rejected due to some signatures in these packets failing to meet the deadline or other criteria. I think one bad apple spoiling the whole barrel. Adding to the problem, you can't re-sign your name on these types of things twice. It's considered a misdemeanor, meaning if your name was rejected, you can't re-sign. Now, the old flag will be officially replaced on March 9th, but the PAC's asking for an extension on the deadline to submit names. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories now. Economists are expecting a healthy jobs report about an hour from now from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They're forecasting an additional 185,000 jobs in January from the nation's employers, down slightly from the average, but keeping the jobless rate under 4%. We'll have the specifics and instant analysis coming up at 6:30 here on Utah's Morning News.
A new kind of cosmetic surgery is on the rise. Leg lengthening procedures. ABC's Ashan Singh talks to one of the world's leading limb lengthening surgeons about how it works.
He claims that it's just creating a small perforated dotted line similar to that on a paper towel, and they're creating a small break in the bone, and then he just puts a rod in there, and then for up to 30 to 60 days, he's increasing the patient's height by a millimeter, and that rod is basically growing, and they just do it through an app.
Seems like a lot to go through for a millimeter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The surgery is mostly being performed on men.
Easter and Christmas services will become simplified from now on at meeting houses for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. In a letter sent from the First Presidency earlier this month, local leaders were advised to limit Easter and Christmas services to just a single hour for sacrament meeting.
Let's get another look at First Look traffic. Certainly wet roads out there, Andy.
Yes. In fact, one of our listeners texted and said they felt like they were hydroplaning on I-15 at Point of the Mountain. So a lot of water sticking to the roads, including along 215. And as you get closer to downtown, it actually seemed like the water volume increased. And we still have a crash on South 15 in North Salt Lake just before you hit Center Street in the 215 split. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Just as President Biden is ramping up his re-election campaign, he is running into some resistance. ABC's M. Wynn reports from Washington.
A new national poll shows Biden losing to former President Trump, 49 to 45%. The gap grows even wider in a potential matchup with Nikki Haley. And Biden faces more challenges on Capitol Hill. The House passed a tax cut bill this week with bipartisan support, but it faces opposition in the Senate. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley says he won't support the bill because it would make Biden look good.
The president was also met with protesters in Michigan while campaigning at a United Auto Workers event.
In case you just missed it, it was a party atmosphere this morning at Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
Make some noise, Punxsutawney!
They tailgate for this. Punxsutawney Phil, the nation's go-to groundhog, predicted an early spring this morning when he emerged from his burrow. He did not see his shadow.
Fake ivy is deterring graffiti in Tacoma. Public Works Director Ray Bailey says the city installed a few kinds back in 2017, and it's keeping taggers away.
Any place we'd had real ivy growing, we weren't seeing the graffiti, tags on our walls. So, we thought that this would be a good deterrent. And like I said, for the most part, it has been.
But Bailey says the fake ivy can be expensive, so it may not be a solution for large areas like freeway walls.
The moon is shrinking, and it's affecting how scientists at NASA are planning manned missions. KSL News Radio's Dale Spalding has the story.
Heat up a balloon and it gets bigger. Let it cool and it shrinks. That same principle also affects planets and moons, but our moon has scientists scratching their heads. Not only is our moon shrinking, but its outer layers are brittle, making it much easier to create moonquakes. Scientists want more information on these quakes, which have forced lunar landslides.
This comes after both Russia and India tried to land spacecraft on the moon's south pole in search of water.
Have you ever watched the television series For All Mankind?
No.
Oh, you've got to. Oh, it's a revisionist history of us on the moon and Russian cosmonauts on the moon, and we just barely started watching. I think we're at the end of season 1, but it's fantastic.
All right, I'll look for it.
Coming up in a moment, we'll get a look at what's going on out there on the roads. We do have a lot of rain, so wet roads. Drivers need to be cautious over those roads this morning. On I-15, we've got some standing water at Point of the Mountain. We'll check it all. Traffic and weather together coming up next.
Bigger stories demand more accountability, more experience, more trust.
If it's like an election day or we're expecting some bad weather, KSL presents the story. Unbiased. It's a good local source.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
It's the Boat Show and Water Sports Expo.
Time to buy the boat of your dreams.
February 1st through the 4th at Mountain America Expo.
Great fun and shopping for the whole family.
The Boat Show is here, better climb aboard. Get your best deal and buy at the Boat Show.
Watch BMX pro riders jump and fly the ramps. Learn fly tying with fishing experts.
See hundreds of new surf boats, wake boats, ski boats, pontoons, fishing boats, cruisers, houseboats and shares, personal watercraft, marine accessories, trucks, and more.
Shop, compare, buy, and save on new boats and accessories.
Register to win a 5-day Alaskan fishing trip courtesy of RW Fishing.
ABC4 Utah and Utah's CW30 invites you to the most exciting boat buying event of the year, the Boat Show and Water Sports Expo, Thursday, February 1st through Sunday the 4th at Mountain America Expo in Sandy.
Buy tickets online and save $2 at UtahBoatShow.com. The Boat Show is here, better climb aboard.
Made to Shine. Love stories from Shane Company customers.
My girlfriend and I survived a long-distance relationship, and now she's back. So this Valentine's Day, I'm gonna propose. I was overwhelmed when it came to the ring, but when I walked into Shane Company, they took the time to show me tons of different rings. They helped me create a one-of-a-kind engagement ring that's so her.
Our jewelry consultants don't work on commission, so you'll never feel pressured. They'll educate you about the 4 C's and help you bring your vision to life. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Can an insurance bot ever really understand your needs?
Do you think I'd benefit from bundling my auto and home coverage?
Searching for homes with car dealerships nearby.
Sure, robots listen, but do they understand you? At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we'll help you save money and time by bundling your auto and home insurance. Find an agent at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
You know, Amanda, this cougar that was found in a tree was not really all that far from our house. It was out on the west side. 5200 West.
I'm going to keep my eyes peeled.
This particular one in West Valley City, a couple of years ago, there was one in my neighborhood.
Really?
And they had helicopters that were actually hovering overhead trying to find him, and they found him in a window well of a house just a few blocks from my house. Yeah, keep the dog, especially the tiny ones in the house.
Just skipping Molly's walk for the next couple nights.
Adam Small is following that story for us this morning.
5:39, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon, and we go back over to you, Andy.
Amanda, already seeing a little bit of slowing building on Mountain View corridor going through the Taylorsville West Valley portion. And then we've got some eastbound 201 traffic slowing around 8400 West. I-15, the listeners say really wet at Point of the Mountain. Felt like they were hydroplaning, but it's wet all the way to downtown, just so you know, Jason.
And no trouble right now if you're headed into any of your canyons up north. Weber, Ogden, and Sardine Canyon are all looking good. It is a little wet up there, of course, but no snow, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about that. But we do still have this accident southbound of I-15. It's going to have the left lanes blocked right before you get to the oil refineries. Stick over to the right. Eric?
Through Parley's Canyon, we do have wet conditions as well, but right now it's not causing delays if you're eastbound out to the Kimball Junction exit. Westbound, just a touch of slowing going up over the hill of Parley Summit. I-15 Utah County, northbound, southbound, no problems as far as delays. We do have a touch of congestion on Pioneer Crossing as you head over to the freeway from Saratoga Springs. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Rain in the forecast today, 45 the high. Could pick up a good amount. 34 overnight, rain, snow, showers. Tomorrow goes mostly cloudy with a 40% chance to see a shower, 42. 43 and partly cloudy on your Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
We may have already reached our high, even though it's cooled off just a little bit, 43 now downtown.
We're going to talk in a moment with Rick Klein about what's happening in Congress. You know, I've thought so much as I watch this impeachment process of the Secretary of Homeland Security. I wonder why Congress doesn't do massive immigration reform like they tried to, a decade ago, a couple decades ago? Because certainly we need it. But anyway, we'll talk with Rick Klein in a moment on KSL News Radio.
Remember, you'll always find us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Boyd Matheson on the pitfalls of politics.
I think the biggest thing we all have to reject is the status quo. We have to reject the kind of politics that have been served up to us and that we've bought into. The biggest question for all of us is, what are we afraid of? And often what we're afraid of is losing power. Politicians often tell us, you can vote for whoever you want, but if you vote for someone other than me, you'll lose power, you'll lose influence. And we have to reject that. Our voting right is our most sacred and fundamental right. Vote for the best person, even if they're not in either political party. Some will try to convince you that's throwing your vote away and the evil, awful other side is going to win because of that. That's what they want you to believe. Because if you're functioning out of a position of fear, we all lose. You'll vote for the status quo, and that keeps the status quo in power.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
We do have some breaking news on KSL this morning. Federal prosecutors are officially now investigating WWE co-founder Vince McMahon for sex trafficking. The investigation comes after multiple allegations regarding sexual misconduct. The billionaire resigned last week after the initial lawsuit by a former WWE employee was fired. Be interesting to follow up on that. KSL News Time 545. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a Utah lawmaker has introduced a new bill aimed at making sure the water we save for the Great Salt Lake actually gets there. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, Utah's first and only female attorney general has died. Jan Graham was 74 years old.
Third, it's a look at traffic and weather together.
I-15 rolling, but wet, so be careful. Don't have any crashes in Utah or Salt Lake County. They're cleaning up the one that's on South 15 in North Salt Lake, but there's a little bit of slowing from that going south from Woods Cross to North Salt Lake. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A nice rain soaker today with highs in the mid-40s. Then we'll break things up tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
We do have rain and 43 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Let's get a look at our top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The dignified transfer of remains happening today at Dover Air Force Base. President Biden will be there as 3 U.S. service members killed in a drone strike in Jordan are returned home. As for retaliatory strikes, U.S. officials say they will be targeted hits aimed at Iranian-backed rebels who carried out the drone attack. However,
President Biden has deep misgivings about going after Iran itself. All we've heard from the president, from the administration for months is these are Iran-backed militias, but they don't want this war to escalate. But if you look at the map, it really already has.
ABC's Martha Raddatz in Amman, Jordan. A small plane crashed into a mobile home park in Clearwater, Florida overnight. Several fatalities, police say, but they don't yet know how many. It's Groundhog Day. Punxsutawney Phil just now predicting.
Glad tidings on this Groundhog Day. An early spring is on the way.
There you go. You heard it here first. This is ABC News.
All right, time for the KSL In-Depth. House lawmakers came together to pass a major child tax credit expansion, and they're still struggling to agree on immigration issues.
Joining us live is ABC News Political Director Rick Klein. Let's start with the child tax credit expansion. That was bipartisan, Rick.
Yeah, it was bipartisan and negotiated with Republicans and Democrats in the Senate, passing the House widely, but now it's back in the Senate, and it may fall victim to election year politics. We heard Senator Chuck Grassley, the most senior Republican in the Senate, say that you don't want to give a president who's down a boost like this. It might help him in an election year, and it's a pretty crass example of just saying the quiet part out loud. And I'm curious to see what the fallout's going to be because this tax bill has a lot of things that Republicans would typically want, a broad tax cut for a lot of Americans and a pretty good deal for taxpayers that, again, Democrats and Republicans are agreeing on.
Where do we stand right now with this immigration back and forth?
Well, we're expecting to see a bill in the next couple of days, sometime over the weekend, that the Senate has negotiated. There's some blowback still in the Senate. Not clear that it passes, but in the House, the Speaker has declared it dead on arrival. And relating back to what I just said about the election year politics, it's kind of wild. There's been some Republicans saying that we wouldn't want to do anything to help Joe Biden's reelection chances when his approval rating is where it is. And obviously, the crisis of the border is real and acute. You've got even many conservatives saying you're not going to get a better deal even if Trump is president. But election year politics are everywhere and are invading this. So 9 months out, the idea of any legislating at all seems a little bit far-fetched.
But that's all I hear is that it's a crisis at the border and we need to do something.
Yeah, and look, it's very hard to square that with the opposition that's building right now. Donald Trump is against the bill he hasn't even seen because no one has seen it. He just thinks it's a terrible bill. And most Republicans in the House are going along with him, including the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, who's avoiding questions on this, just running away from reporters practically, talking about the details of this. Some of the pushback on it has been, look, if you're serious about there being a crisis on the border, why would you not do anything to help it, even if it's a small thing, even if it's not everything you wanted? And again, it's just lawmakers are going to have to make a judgment about whether they're okay going back to their constituents and saying they didn't do it, or they're going to just defer to Donald Trump. But right now, Donald Trump is acting as if he's president, even though he's very much not.
Well, then the argument on the other side is why not just reinstitute the emergency order that was in place that Joe Biden lifted on day one and then go back to the deportation rules that were in place?
Yeah, and it's a fine argument. I would note that a lot of the things that are in this bill are powers that Donald Trump himself asked Congress for and couldn't get. Joe Biden put out a statement saying he would shut down the border. That's the words he used. If he was given these additional powers, and there are things he can do that he hasn't done. Of course, there's always things that you can do as a federal government, but the legislative solutions have always been the most important ones. And Donald Trump used to believe the same thing until he wasn't president anymore, and until he saw, and I think a lot of Republicans see a huge political opportunity that surrounds this moment, and that's really what the lay of the land is.
Okay, before we lose you, Rick, can you explain why Taylor Swift is so political all of a sudden?
I wish I could explain it. It seems like one of the dumbest political pieces of maneuvering I can ever think to attack Taylor Swift. I can say it clearly on your show. Taylor Swift is not a Pentagon asset. Her successful pop career and her boyfriend's successful political career have nothing to do with politics or with some kind of a deep state plot to try to get Joe Biden elected president. She's an enormously successful pop star who has a very successful boyfriend. She happens to be a Democrat, at least. I don't really know Travis Kelce's politics. But I think it's hard for me to imagine kind of a dumber political strategy than trying to take on Swifties. So let's hope that it drops and have a good Super Bowl.
Yeah, I just think it's funny. Rick, thanks for your help again this morning. Have a good weekend. Rick Klein always joins us on Friday morning, ABC News political director there in Washington.
On the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
All right, 5:49. Let's get a look at how the drive is going out there. Brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And we check in with Andy Farnsworth.
A little bit of slowing on 215 in the Union Park area right now for westbound traffic heading towards I-15. We've got a lot of wet conditions. Freeways, city streets, doesn't matter. Although on the freeway, apparently at Point of the Mountain, it seems like it's a little bit worse as far as standing water on the freeway. And then we've got a little bit of slowing on the ramp from northbound 215 to go to the 21st South Freeway right now. Jason?
More cars hitting the road, and now we are seeing some backups as you head southbound I-15 right before the oil refineries in North Salt Lake. That's where we have this accident with the left lanes blocked. In fact, 2 to 3 left lanes are blocked there, so you're going to want to stick over to the right. Otherwise, though, if you are southbound I-15 a little bit further up north, Layton, Kaysville, that's looking really good. No problems, 89 Legacy or the West Side Belt. Eric?
Well, despite the wet road conditions, you've got wet roads through Partley's Canyon. You do have good movement heading out to the Kimball Junction exit. Just be careful along the Wasatch Back Nose, slowing between Heber City and Park City. And down Utah County, I-15 is cruising right along. You may have to look out for the wet spots there, too. We have seen them on camera from Santa Quinn to Point of the Mountain, though it's still a 30-minute drive. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-8 forecast. Today's storm is definitely on the mild side. 45 with off and on rain today. We'll go 42 tomorrow, mostly cloudy, slight chance for a shower. Sunday, partly cloudy, 43, up to 50 degrees, breezy out of the south on Monday, chance for rain showers. Rain likely Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, temperatures in the 50s and 40s. We drop it down to the low 40s with a slight chance for rain and snow showers as we work into next Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, we do have light rain and 43 degrees, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
We have Cougar basketball coming up tomorrow. Let me see. Pre-game at 3, tip-off at 4. They're going to be taking on West Virginia.
Ooh, look forward to it.
Yeah, so they're on the road. I think this will be the first time basketball has taken on West Virginia as a Big 12 member.
Wow.
So look forward to the coverage coming up tomorrow here on KSL. Hey, if you have yet to really enlist the help of a plumber in your life that can help you, we're going to be talking more later this morning about Superior Water and Air and how they can help your family. So stay with us for more conversation about that great company, and we'll check money news next.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Let's take a look at Utah's Money here, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com Amazon is reporting better than expected revenue and profits for the fourth quarter thanks to holiday shopping. The e-commerce company said it earned $170 billion in revenue and $10.6 billion in profits during the last 3 months of 2023.
Wow. Quaker is expanding their recall once again, now including Quaker Chewy Dips Llama Rama bars.
Okay.
Any six-pack box with a best before date of February 10th or 11th should not be eaten.
Chewy Dips Llama Rama bars. 2.2 million Teslas are being recalled because of font size. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says it's too small on warning lights, and that can make critical safety information difficult to read. The vehicles with the problem are going to get a free over-the-air software update.
Let's get a look at your money at this moment. The Dow futures are up 40. That's 0.1%. S&P futures up 34. That's 0.7. The NASDAQ futures are way up, though. Look at that. NASDAQ futures up 199, which is 1.1%.
Time this morning for Cougar Tracks, brought to you by entrepreneurs. Visit cbutah.com. Here's BYU insider Mitch Harper.
The last time BYU basketball traveled to Morgantown, West Virginia, Harry S. Truman was the president of the United States. Saturday's trip to the country roads will be BYU's first since 1947. It's an important game, as they all are in Big 12 play. On paper, West Virginia has an underwhelming record of 8-13 overall, but they are healthy now.
This West Virginia team is really good. You think about it. So all they've done in the last 2 weeks is beat Kansas, beat Texas, and beat Cincinnati. And that's its 8-win team. Go figure. This Jesse Edwards was unbelievable last night. I mean, his size and length and the space he covers. And, if you talk about one piece that's going to change your whole existence as a team. And then they've got some other guys healthy. Their roster's finally healthy.
BYU versus West Virginia tips off tomorrow at 4 p.m. and coverage begins at noon with Cougar Sports Saturday right here on KSL. With Cougar Tracks, I'm Mitch Harper on your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Are you a startup, entrepreneur, or business owner looking for funding? Look no further than Central Bank's CB Vault, Utah's help center for startups and entrepreneurs. CB Vault understands the unique challenges faced by business owners. CB Vault is here to help you start, grow, or thrive with a dedicated help center for startups and entrepreneurs, providing personalized financial solutions, networking, and guidance for every step of the way. With a range of services tailored for startups and small businesses and expert financial advice to flexible loan options, CB Vault helps you get funding and allows you to keep your equity. Whether you're seeking funding, planning expansion, or navigating the financial landscape, CB Vault's team of experts is ready to assist you in turning your vision into reality. Don't let financial barriers hold you back. Central Bank's CB Vault is here to unlock your business potential. Visit CB Vault today at cbutah.com. Central Bank, voted best bank in Utah Valley. Strong, local, secure. Since 1891. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Don't miss KSL's special broadcast with Tim, Amanda, Dave, and Deb. February 9th at ARUP Blood Services Sandy. Blood donations are really needed. To help, visit utahblood.org for details.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
Dave and Dujanovic here. You hear us every weekday on KSL from 9 to noon.
But have you listened to our podcast?
We're running a secret contest just for podcast listeners.
You could win a new pair of AirPod Pros every week in February just for listening.
Here's how you do it. Find our show on KSLpodcast.com
or wherever you listen to podcasts and listen for the keywords.
When you hear one, text it to 57500 and you'll be in to win.
That's it. We'll see you on our podcast, Dave and Dujanovic with KSL News Radio.
5:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, so far no crashes on these wet roads this morning, but some reduced speeds along 201 eastbound in Magna, seeing some reduced speeds along Mountain View, especially down the hill in going past the amphitheater in Kearns, West Valley. And then on Redwood, a little bit of slowing West Jordan right now near 90th South. I'm Jason.
And some quick work by the UDOT people out there, because we had 3 left lanes closed as you approach the oil refineries on the southbound side of I-15 just a minute ago, and now they're all open. And the accident is gone, so you're back to good speeds. No problems there. The roads are a little bit wet, so make sure that you slow down, use a little bit of caution. Eric?
Well, we're looking at good driving conditions, at least as far as your pace is concerned. You've got wet roads in Utah County and water splashing off the tires in some spots, but you've still got good movement from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain. It's a 24-minute drive. Along the Wasatch Back, no problems on US 40. And if you're heading into the mountains this morning, wet roads on I-80, but so far no unusual delays, no crashes, and that's the same for Provo Canyon drivers if you're on 189. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's see. 5 of the next 7 days have precipitation in them, and even the one that doesn't, tomorrow says a 40% chance, but not likely. Right now, 43 in Salt Lake City to start the morning.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 6 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
Keep your jackets and umbrellas ready to go because this weekend's rain is just round one of this stormy weather that's moving in next week.
We begin our live team coverage, Utah's Water Watch, with KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston. Peter?
Amanda, the moisture train called the Pineapple Express has rolled in from Hawaii, and it's keeping the rain a lot more mild here than it did in California. KSL's Matt Johnson says southern Utah is the state's wettest area today.
Enterprise, 3/4 of an inch. St. George, 63/100. You get into Cedar City, and it's anywhere from 1/3 of an inch to 4/10 of an inch.
Johnson says things will dry out tomorrow and Sunday, but another storm will land in Utah come Monday. If you're not the biggest rain fan, like me, I'm sorry to tell you that your hair will stay damp throughout the next week. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio. And other than that, we also have more news on the Great Salt Lake. Our KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with more on a measure to see how effective efforts to get water to the lake actually are. Adam.
Peter, Representative Casey Snyder has introduced a bill that would create a full water distribution plan for the Great Salt Lake. Snyder tells the Deseret News with Utah Lake, for example, when it's full, anyone who wants to divert its water can't because every drop is allocated for a purpose. He wants to make sure the same thing is happening for the Great Salt Lake. Now, if this were to be signed into law, it would be a huge step forward in the strategic plan to save the lake, as I've spoken about previously with Great Salt Lake Deputy Commissioner Tim Davis.
The key work that we'll be doing is figuring out how much water we're already conserving and getting to the lake. Then we'll also be identifying how much water we need to get each year.
Snyder says he plans to ask for around $15 million to help get this done. Live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Crews broke ground this week on a new Children's Justice Center in Ogden. It will replace an outdated facility that's located in a building that was built in the early 1900s. Workers say it's far too small for the number of cases they handle. The center serves kids 17 and under who suffer either sexual or physical abuse.
KSL's top national story this hour is breaking news. WWE co-founder Vince McMahon is the subject of a federal sex trafficking probe. That comes from the Wall Street Journal, which has the exclusive report. The paper cites sources familiar with the probe who say federal agents subpoenaed McMahon and executed a search warrant on his home last summer. McMahon said he plans to vigorously defend himself. There is no comment from the WWE.
Other national stories we're following this hour. The government's January jobs report is due out this morning. It's expected to show some signs of cooling in the labor market, which proved strong throughout last year.
The monthly report from Labor Department surveys is expected to show non-farm payrolls rose by 185,000 last month, while the unemployment rate ticked up to 3.8% from the previous month. That's according to a consensus of estimates by Bloomberg. In December, the U.S. economy added 216,000 jobs, while the unemployment rate unexpectedly remained flat at 3.7%. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
Apple's much-anticipated Vision Pro headset goes on sale today. The tech giant says it's compatible with more than 1 million apps. Apple's Senior Vice President of Retail, Deirdre O'Brien, says some lucky customers have been able to try it out already.
The best part about giving these demos is watching those reactions. And I will say it's awe, it's wonder. Sometimes we've had some people cry. It is a really transformational experience.
One reviewer says it's like swiping around on your iPhone, only it's strapped to your face.
I am so tempted. I'm a geek,
Yeah, I know.
an Apple geek, but man, the price tag.
What
of
is the
that,
price?
It's north of $3,000.
Oh, wow.
Somewhere between $3,300 and $3,500 for this headset. Wow. A movement to gather signatures to fight plans for a temple in the Heber Valley has fallen short. The Wasatch County Clerk's Auditor's Office says the group behind the referendum initiative wasn't able to gather enough signatures to get on the ballot. Save Wasatch Back Dark Skies had raised concerns about the lighting of the planned temple. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has worked with Wasatch County leaders to revise the plans to mitigate those concerns.
First look traffic now on a Friday morning, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
Well, they cleared the crash that we had on I-15 in North Salt Lake. That was the only one that's been on the freeways so far, despite these wet road conditions. It helps that we've got lighter traffic patterns. I am seeing traffic bogging down just a little going south now through Lehigh down towards American Fork. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
The National Suicide and Crisis Hotline is struggling to keep up with the demand. Here's KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
The nation's crisis and suicide hotline estimates they've helped 7 million people in the last 2 years, but employees are starting to get burned out. The agency says it's getting harder to hire and train workers to man the 24/7 call lines. In some states, more than 2/3 of employees have left within months of their first call. The job can take a high emotional toll on workers. Some employees have reported increased anxiety, depression, and even nightmares. Others say they feel unqualified to even take on the intense calls. Regardless, there is still someone on the other line, and the agency encourages anyone in need to call anytime. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
A new at-home workout is trending, and it uses candles, jammies, and your favorite TV show. Social media influencer Hope Zuckerbrow calls her creation Cozy Cardio, a way for women to reclaim their relationship with exercise.
Cozy looks different for everyone, but my version looks like ambiance lighting, the flicker of a candle, the taste of my favorite protein coffee, or the comfort of the show I'm binging. I just applied that to my exercise.
Zuckerbrow says Cozy Cardio won't give you six-pack abs, but it gets you off the couch. I don't want to work out in my PJs. Do you?
I thought jammies was part of the one of the real draws to this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to participate in any of that. Leg lengthening surgery is on the rise. I don't like this either. ABC's Hassan Singh takes a look at this cosmetic producer.
We haven't seen how this plays out on a long-term basis, and the prognosis for infection, the prognosis for back, knee, leg problems. The recovery process for a procedure like this is definitely intense. It takes weeks, if not months, for the patients to get back on their feet. They're limited to walkers. They're going through intense rounds of physical therapy and all types of recovery processes to be able to walk normally again.
Yeah, now realize what an hour ago they were talking about. You'd go through all of that for a millimeter more height.
But do they increase it from that? Like it's a millimeter and then it's another millimeter and then it's another millimeter?
I don't know.
Or is it a millimeter total?
I don't know, but man, that's a lot to go through. The surgery primarily, they're telling us, being performed on men.
Depending on whether you love to ski and snowboard or you prefer to golf, I guess it depends on how you look at it, whether you think this is great news, but it comes from Gobbler's Knob in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania.
Glad tidings on this Groundhog Day. An early spring is on the way.
I don't think you skiers are going to be happy about that, Tim, if it's true. Punxsutawney Phil did not see his shadow, and on Groundhog's Day, that means an early spring.
They're telling us he's wrong 60-some% of the time.
Right, so don't worry about it.
So it's 50-50. No crashes on the board right now if you're southbound from Ogden, northbound from Provo, heading into downtown, but Mother Nature's going to ride along with you. We'll check traffic and weather together next.
Spend your workday with a talk show that makes you feel better about the news.
Dave and Dujanovic.
They have a good dynamic between the two of them.
Sometimes I'll take Dave's side and sometimes I'll take Debbie's side.
They're great.
Dave and Debbie, live from 9 to noon, or podcast the show on the app for KSL News Radio.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
One of the stories we're going to keep an eye on this morning, we had breaking news last hour that WWE co-founder Vince McMahon is now a subject of a federal sex trafficking probe. He evidently raided his home last summer, and so this has been ongoing. This behind-the-scenes investigation has been ongoing for a little while now. More on that coming up. 6:09, time for us to get a look at traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon, and he gets us started in the traffic center.
Well, so far, no crashes on the freeway. I-15 from Draper to downtown might be a little more than your normal 20 minutes because of the wet conditions. We did just hear about a crash reported on the scanners, 4700 south, 5600 west. It actually might just be east of the intersection at 56 west, 4700 south. Mountain View's got some pretty rough conditions on the wet roads going down the hill in that same stretch between 54 and 3500 south. Jason?
And roads are clear southbound I-15 between Ogden and downtown Salt Lake City. You do want to reduce speed a little bit because the roads are wet, so make sure you're using caution there. At Legacy 89, the West Side Belt, are also accident-free. Your major feeders over to I-15 are also looking really good. Eric?
The 215 eastbound rolling pretty well northbound from 6200 south. That's Knutson's Corner up to alongside the mountains to the mouth of Parley's Canyon. Now, if you take a right turn, go on I-80 into Parley's Canyon, not seeing any major difficulties this morning. We have had some precipitation, but it's been mostly a light rain snow mix when it's happened. Down Utah County, I-15 is moving pretty well from Provo and Orem up to Thanksgiving Point. We're not seeing any delays or crashes. Lagoon is looking for ride maintenance technicians. Lagoon offers excellent mechanical training programs with amazing career opportunities. Ride maintenance technician position is full-time and year-round. Details visit lagoonpark.com/jobs. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Periods of rain today, likely 45 the high. Overnight will go 34 with rain snow showers. Tomorrow, 42, mostly cloudy, and a slight chance for a shower. 43 and dry on Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Wet out there this morning, 43 degrees.
Should school board seats be partisan? Is that something that you feel like, is the election process for school board members improved by making them Democrat or Republican? We'll hear more about that just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us. That's next, and you'll find us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
If you've ever experienced running out of hot water before your shower was done, or hard water spots on dishes and fixtures, I've got a deal you might be interested in. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you probably already know that a tankless water heater and a water softener solve both issues. If you've ever thought about looking into getting a tankless water heater, here's the deal I was talking about. Through the end of February, we're including a free water softener with every new tankless water heater we install. The best part of this deal might be that you never have to worry about being the last one to the shower again, or that you don't have to waste the money keeping 40 to 50 gallons of water hot 24/7. To take advantage of this deal, call Any Hour Services before the end of February. The visit's free and there's no obligation to buy. If you decide to have us install a new tankless water heater, we'll throw in the water softener for free. That's right, a free water softener when you purchase a tankless water heater. Pick up the phone and call Any Hour Services right now for all the details. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
As the new year begins, you and your credit card might be ready for a quiet break. Experience the relief of a low rate with the Mountain America credit card. With a 3% cash bonus on balance transfers, it's more relaxing than ever. Open a Mountain America credit card today for your limited time bonus. Details at macu.com/transfer. Loans and approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Do you snore at night? You could be suffering from sleep apnea, a serious medical condition. Be one of the first 25 people to call Sound Sleep Medical and receive a free sleep consultation, normally a $200 value. Sound Sleep Medical uses a custom-fitted oral appliance instead of a cumbersome CPAP machine to treat sleep apnea. Most insurance companies and Medicare cover oral appliance therapy. To learn more, call 801-285-9731 or visit soundsleepmedical.com.
KSL News Time, 6:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
rain is here to stay through tomorrow, with buckets coming down in southern Utah and moving north into Saturday. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, the legislature is considering whether to make it legal for teenagers to carpool with their friends right after getting their license.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
I-15 still crash-free now that they got the crash cleared up in North Salt Lake. No extra delays as far as stop and go between Ogden, Salt Lake, and Provo right now, despite the rain, but you'll want to take the speeds just a little bit slower due to conditions. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Off and on rain today, a break over the weekend, then more rain. I'm Matt Johnson.
We do have rain right now and 43 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Time now for our top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The bodies of the 3 U.S. service members killed in a drone attack in Jordan are returning home today as the U.S. considers when and how to retaliate. ABC's Martha Raddatz reports from Amman, Jordan.
A somber return. Just hours from now, the bodies of Sergeant Kennedy Sanders, Sergeant Brianna Moffett, and Sergeant William Rivers will be arriving at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. There to meet them, the families of the fallen soldiers and President Biden. This as the U.S. now finalizes its plan for its multi-day, multi-target assault in retaliation for the deadly drone attack in Jordan that took the lives of those soldiers and left at least 47 other service members wounded.
On Capitol Hill, we could find out the details about the bipartisan immigration deal that is tied to funding for Ukraine and Israel soon. But as ABC's Rachel Scott reports, several far-right Republicans aligned with former President Trump are already vowing to vote it down.
Trump is making immigration central to his campaign. Now he's pushing congressional Republicans to kill an emerging bipartisan deal to address the border. But text of that deal hasn't even been released yet. Still, many House Republicans say they'll vote against it. Congressman Troy Nell says he doesn't want to do anything to help Biden's approval ratings.
Some Republicans also say a tax deal agreed upon in the House this week should be voted down because it would help President Biden in November. Tesla is recalling nearly all of its vehicles sold in the U.S. because a warning light on the instrument panel is too small. Tesla says a software update will fix it. About a half hour from now, we will get unemployment numbers for the month of January, and it's February 2nd, so in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, Phil has been working, didn't see a shadow.
Glad tidings on this Groundhog Day. An early spring is on the way.
Several other groundhogs from around the country, including Jimmy in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, also predicting an early spring. You're listening to ABC News.
Other stories we're following this morning. We're 8 years past the change that made state school board elections a partisan race, and 5 years since the state Supreme Court said the decision is okay under the Utah Constitution.
KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris takes a look at the move.
There are 8 seats open on the board this year, and 20 people are hoping to fill them. This will be the 4th year using partisan elections to determine state school board members after a bill passed to change the law in 2016. That bill's sponsor, Senator Ann Milner, says there is still some opposition to the partisan voting.
Everybody has different ideas about this. I think there are some people who believe that this is the only way for us to get a good vetting process. I think there are other people that would like to see it go back to nonpartisan. We're probably going to continue to have that debate, but right now it's set up as partisan elections.
Primary elections are on June 25th, with general elections on November 5th. Alessandra Harris, KSL News Radio.
A group of 30 Kentucky school teachers have been playing Powerball together for years by drawing numbers randomly out of a hat. And this week, their hat trick finally paid off. One member of the group, retired math teacher Darlene Dunaway, kept the ticket hidden in a math book until they were ready to claim the prize.
You play the lottery knowing you have a chance, and then when it happens, you think there's no way this is true.
So the group won $1 million as a group, and that means about $24,000 each after taxes.
Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Good for them.
And with the math book, being the hiding place, now they can do the math and know how to separate all of that out.
Wow.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
6:19, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, traffic on Bangor definitely getting busier as you head through Taylorsville and West Valley, especially, of course, waiting at the intersections. We have a crash reported 5600 West, 4700 South on the west side of Kearns and West Valley. 201 already a little bit slow in the Magna stretch near 7200 West. But I-15, despite the wet conditions, is still close to 20 to 23 minutes travel time only through the entire Salt Lake Valley. Jason?
Accident-free and delay-free right now in Weber and Davis counties. The only problem you're going to have, of course, is the roads are a little bit wet, so you want to slow down as you're traveling around. But right now, the travel time between Ogden and downtown Salt Lake City is going to run you about 30, 31 minutes. That's due to the wet roads there. Otherwise, you're looking pretty decent up north. Eric?
I-15 looks okay in Utah County. You've got at least normal travel times. Northbound from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain, that's a 24-minute drive along the 215 East Belt, heading north alongside the mountains. No problems there as far as crashes or delays. Foothill Drive this early, also in good shape, heading north towards the university. I-80 out into the mountains, that's in good shape. And if you're westbound on I-80 through Sugar House to I-15, no accidents or delays there either. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. We've got rain today, 45 the high. Tomorrow, 42, mostly cloudy, and a slight chance for a shower. Partly cloudy, 43 on Sunday. We're back at it with rain showers on Monday, 50 the high. Up to 51, 10 above the normal on Tuesday. Rain showers likely. We keep rain in the forecast for your Wednesday. Rain snow showers by next Thursday. It looks active. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Just got the ski report, by the way. Alta got 5 inches overnight. Bryan had got 14, so that'll give you an idea of which direction the storm came from down south. Right now, 43 degrees in Salt Lake City, and the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Would you like some NCAA men's basketball tomorrow afternoon?
Have we got a deal for you?
Yes, indeed. It's BYU taking on West Virginia, and as you're driving home for a run and errands, pre-game at 3, tip-off at 4. Go Cougars right here on KSL News Radio.
We have jobs numbers that are coming out. Is it next half hour?
Yeah, it should be in a few minutes.
So we're going to not only give you those numbers, but we'll have some instant analysis. You'll want to stay with us. Money News is next.
It's the dead of winter, and our friends at Advanced Window Products have a wonderful wintertime offer. This is Jeff Kaplan. If the cold is seeping into your house right now, Nate and Jake will give you $2,500 off on double-pane windows and the highest quality custom frames built right here in Utah. Any style, any color, and the $2,500 is atop their already low prices. See, they build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So there's no middleman markup. At Advanced Window Products, they offer 0% financing. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage in the dead of winter while the wind is whistling and give your home, your #1 asset, a fresh new look. Plus, you save money on heating and air conditioning, so much so the energy companies offer rebates. Buy local. Their factory's right here in Salt Lake City. Save an extra $2,500 off the best windows and frames in Utah. 801-850-9100. 801-850-9100. Or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News. We're committed to letting you know exactly what's going on. On our show, we're going to bring you up to speed on what's happening in the world to this moment. At the same time, the news can be really burdensome. It can leave you feeling a little bit depressed and even a little bit more depressed. My Minute of News is just a moment to lift you up. I'm blessed that KSL has given me the freedom to talk about whatever I want. Literally, it is my minute of news. Sometimes it's pegged to what's happening that very day. Sometimes it might be something bizarre that you didn't know happening somewhere else in the world. To make you smile for a moment, even on a difficult day, and make you realize the world is still spinning. I am so honored that so many people have appreciated and enjoy the Minute of News every afternoon.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk?
Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. ExxonMobil's fourth quarter revenue and profits declined, similar to Shell. The oil giant was weighed down by a hefty impairment charge tied to regulatory issues in California. Oil markets are being stretched by cutbacks in oil production from Saudi Arabia and Russia, with the war in the Middle East posing potential conflicts.
Looks like the tech layoffs continue. Zoom is now cutting 2% of its workforce. That's going to be 150 jobs. Last year around this time, the company laid off 1,300 people. The latest job cuts are part of the company's goal to refine job roles.
Data shows that 2/3 of Utah's hospitals are nonprofit. 18 of the 21 rural hospitals are nonprofit, supporting access and care to the areas that need it most.
We had a big day yesterday with the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ all up over 1%, and more green numbers to start the day. The futures of the Dow up 37, the S&P is up 32, and the NASDAQ is up this hour by almost 200 points.
Look at those shiny, wet roads out there.
Yeah.
But we need the rain, so we're not unhappy about that. And we've got rain today and for a few more days, too. Looks like in the forecast. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Jeff Kaplan here. Every once in a while, I do my show from home, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell. I'm on KSL and sending video to the internet all at the same time because I have Xfinity Wi-Fi. It's pretty amazing because at the same time, my wife's streaming a movie, grandkids come over, one's watching YouTube, two are playing Minecraft, and others watching a flick, all while Grandma says, "Shh, Papa's on the air." We run all these devices, and I do a show thanks to my reliable, fast connection. Xfinity Wi-Fi is a game changer. Get wall-to-wall Wi-Fi on the Xfinity 10G network for a reliable connection throughout your home. Now through March 21st, new customers can get started with 1.2 gigabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add unlimited mobile. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to Internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. In October of 1985, a woman named Cherie Warren left work at a busy Salt Lake City office
to meet her estranged husband at a downtown auto dealership.
She never made it home. Cherie's car surfaced weeks later in Las Vegas.
In the parking lot of a hotel casino.
No one knows how it got there.
Strange. It was strange.
Both Cherie's estranged husband and her boyfriend raised suspicion for investigators.
I kind of thought that he might have done something.
But no arrests were ever made. In Cold Season 3, we dig into double lives, make new connections in the case, and examine the difficulty raised by reasonable doubt.
We want answers just as much as anyone else.
They have creeps like that now too, so nothing's changed.
That's the new Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie. Now available anywhere you get your podcasts.
The political accusations will only get louder.
Stop the invasion of our southern border.
He doesn't want us to solve the border problem because he wants to blame Biden for it.
The world around us will only become more divided. With more conflict come key decisions about news stories and the facts. That's why we choose our words carefully at KSL, ask better questions, and leave the conclusions to you. The stakes are higher, and we have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Join KSL in the movie show today from 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store, 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, mpsstore.com.
KSL News Time, 6:29. Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save, that is, up to 20 cents a gallon. And he's back in the traffic center.
Well, Tim, it's helping that it's light traffic on a Friday morning, but the wet conditions are affecting drivers. We've had a crash out in Taylorsville or Kearns, West Valley, 4700 South. and 5600 West. Now there actually is some northbound delay on 5600 West coming up on that intersection. And that's probably the most dangerous stretch of mountain views between 62 and 3500 South going down that hill. So far, I-15, though, still about a 20 to 25-minute drive through the valley. Jason?
And no delay at all up north at this point. 89 Legacy and the West Side Belt are all moving along at regular speeds, or at least as regular as it can be with the wet roads that we've got out there. But you're looking pretty decent right now at the gates of Hill Air Force Base. Eric?
And we're still seeing water splashing around some of the lanes on I-15 in Utah County. So be a little bit careful down there. But right now, you've got normal travel times from Santaquin Payson all the way up to Thanksgiving Point. No delays. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's get a look at that forecast. Rain today. In fact, we have a chance of rain for the next 7 days. Although Sunday is probably going to be mostly sunny. Right now, we do have rain and 43 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio.
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 6:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
A neighborhood and a mountain lion are both safe and sound after a scare in West Valley City.
The warmer weather could be part of the reason why we've seen a recent spike of sightings in the valley. KSL News Radio's Adam Small joins us live with details. Adam?
Amanda, I don't know if you've ever tried to help a cat out of a tree, but Daniel was right to not help this one outside this house near 40th South, 5200 West.
I kept staring at it while I was talking and kind of seen the tail move. I'm like, that's a freaking mountain lion.
Now, he told the West Valley City Fire Department he actually went to get his dad and brother who were inside just to make sure he wasn't seeing things.
They both said the same thing. Yeah, what the hell?
Now, this is just the latest in a string of cougar sightings in the Salt Lake Valley. Wildlife experts recently told me some deer might be headed into the valley to have an easier time finding food, and in turn, some cougars might be following them down. I can at least report with this one in West Valley, authorities tranquilized him so he can hang out in trees much farther away from this one. Live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Teens could get to drive their friends around a lot sooner after getting their license in the future. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston explains live. Peter?
Tim, the idea for this bill came from State Representative Kira Birkeland, whose teenage daughter often commutes with friends.
It's very common, especially in rural communities, when your kid's going to drive a half hour into a city, to carpool, to have them ride together. I know as a mom, I don't want my 16-year-old driving at night by herself.
Birkeland proposes letting 16 and 17-year-old drivers take just one non-family member with them in a car, no wait period needed. Her bill got the go-ahead from the State House Committee, and now it goes to the full House of Representatives for a vote. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
A political action committee is trying to extend the deadline for people to oppose Utah's new flag. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with that story. Michael?
And this PAC claims the process to adopt the new flag was full of problems. Mainly, they argue some packets signed by they argue that some packets signed by those who wanted to restore the old flag were thrown out because a few signatures on the packet weren't signed on time. Additionally, if your signature was invalidated because the packet was tossed, you can't sign again. Signing twice is considered a misdemeanor. PAC sent a letter to Lieutenant Governor Henderson not to enforce what they called an unduly burdensome process. The old flag is slated to still be officially replaced, though, in March. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The bodies of the 3 U.S. service members killed in a drone attack in Jordan are returning home this morning as the Pentagon finalizes its plans to respond.
A somber return. Just hours from now, the bodies of Sergeant Kennedy Sanders, Sergeant Brianna Moffett, and Sergeant William Rivers will be arriving at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. There to meet them, the families of the fallen soldiers and President Biden. This as the U.S. now finalizes its plan for its multi-day, multi-target assault in retaliation for the deadly drone attack in Jordan that took the lives of those soldiers and left at least 47 other service members wounded.
That's ABC News Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz reporting from Jordan.
KSL weather with Matt Johnson. The rain's coming down and southern Utah is getting soaked.
Leeds with 1.04 in the rain gauge. Enterprise, 3/4 of an inch. St. George, 6/300. You get into Cedar City and it's anywhere from 1/3 of an inch to 4/10 of an inch. And up in northern Utah already picking up 1/10 to 1/3 of an inch. And we're expecting more across the Wasatch Front
We'll be looking at rain throughout the day.
The city of Tacoma says deterring graffiti can be as simple as hanging some fake ivy. Public Works Manager Ray Bailey says the city has tried a few things.
We've had a couple of the Strand areas get tagged in the last year or two, but for the most part, everything that we put up by the Strands is doing its job.
Bailey says panel fake ivy wasn't as successful. Taggers painted over it, removed it, and then burned it.
Wow, we added way more jobs in January than anybody predicted. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. But first look traffic takes us back to you, Andy.
Amanda traveled through the valley. Yet to see any crashes on I-15, although we have one in West Valley at 47 South, 5600 West, creating a little bit of a northbound delay. Also 201 beginning to back up on the west side. But all the canyons, at least for now, open without any restrictions or real extra delay yet. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
And here is that breaking news on KSL. The unemployment rate looks like it's going to hold steady at 3.7% after employers added 353,000 jobs in the month of January.
What were we saying earlier? They predicted 170, 180?
80-some, yeah.
So this is like...
almost double.
Almost twice as many. We're going to get instant analysis. Oh, you have him now. Wonderful. Utah Representative Robert Spendlove, who is senior economist at Zions Bank. This is huge, isn't it, Robert?
353,000, that is a huge number. We were expecting 170, so this is much higher than the expectation, and it shows that the labor market continues to grow really well.
Help us square this, because Forbes just today actually has a headline that says that layoffs in January were almost at the highest they've been in 15 years, and yet here we are creating other jobs. How do we square that?
Well, what's happening is, yes, layoffs are happening, but as quickly as those people are being laid off, they're being scooped up by other companies, other industries. This has been the big surprise for the past year, has been this remarkable resiliency of the economy and of the labor market. And we just keep being surprised by how strong the market is.
So what effect, if any, does this have on the Fed's decisions about interest rates?
Well, that's the big issue, because the markets have been expecting the Fed to drop rates, to bring down those interest rates. But what this report shows is that the economy continues to be so strong. We saw wage growth jumping as well, jumping by 0.6%. So it's going to make it tougher for the Fed to bring down those rates if the economy continues to be coming along so strong.
What kinds of jobs are these? Do we know? Are they decent paying jobs?
Yeah, and we are seeing it in a number of different areas. Professional business services, healthcare is strong. We're also seeing retail trade. So it is really across the board. We're seeing weakness in the kind of the tech sector, in interest rate sensitive areas. But a lot of the other sectors are picking up that slack.
Are employers able to fill positions that they have open now more than they were a while ago?
Yeah, and that's one of the things. We are seeing the labor market returning back to normal. There's another report that came out earlier this week that says layoffs overall are dropping down, but also people aren't leaving as much as they were a year ago. So a big part of this is just trying to normalize and get back to where it was before the pandemic hit. But we are seeing people are kind of settling a little bit more than they were a year or two ago.
All right, so there it is. Robert, again, thanks for your time this morning. 353,000 jobs. It's more than double what the expectation was, and that is good enough to keep the unemployment rate right where it was, 3.7%.
Coming up in just a moment, we'll check those wet roads, traffic, and weather together just ahead.
A legacy of news and information going back generations.
I'll have the radio on. I learned that from my mom. She's listened to KSL her whole life, and I grew up listening to KSL radio too.
I really enjoy listening in the morning.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Enroll in Farm Bureau Financial Services Driveology, and you'll instantly save 10% on your auto insurance premium. Over time, your safe driving habits could earn you even bigger savings, up to 50%. Learn more and start saving with Driveology at fbfs.com/save. 10% savings applied at enrollment for select coverages. Future savings based on individual driving behaviors and varies by coverages selected. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well,
trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Made to shine. Love stories from Shane Company customers.
We've only been dating 6 months, but I really wanted to get my girlfriend something special for Valentine's Day. So I went to Shane Company, and they thought a gift with their birthstone would be meaningful. So I got her an opal necklace, and their opals are spectacular. I was surprised it was only a couple $100. I can't wait to give it to her.
We're passionate about sourcing the most beautiful gemstones from around the world, so your love can shine bright. Shane Company. Fine jewelry since 1929.
If you're just getting in the car, the numbers are good this morning. We were expecting 170-some thousand jobs to be created in January. Instead, it's 353. And the unemployment rate stays steady at 3.7. We'll see how the markets react later in this half hour.
6:39, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, slowdowns have been very minor this morning despite these very wet conditions and the rain continuing to come down. Speeds have been at or just a little bit below the limit, which means travel times at the minimum or maybe just a little more. 20 minutes, 22 minutes through the valley is all you'll see. Some backups, though, 5600 west at California Avenue now, and we had a crash at 4700 south, although it looks like that's not causing the slowing that it was initially at this point. Jason?
And looking good up north as you travel through Weber and Davis counties on I-15 down through Layton, Kaysville, Woods Cross down into the Salt Lake Valley. No delays there, no accidents to speak of. Also, West Side Belt, 89 Legacy, they're all clear, as is the West Davis Highway. Eric?
If you're northbound on the 215 East Belt, looks good going up towards Foothill Drive. Just a touch of slowing at 2100 south, northbound, southbound at that one particular intersection. The rest of the way, not bad going up to the University of Utah. It's still early, and I-80 looks good as far as your pace going out to the Kimball Junction exit, but we have had rain-snow mix through the canyon, so you need to be careful. And you got wet roads in Utah County, but good movement from Provo to Lehigh. When you choose Performance Automotive and Bountiful, you're choosing selection. For locations, Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, Performance Toyota, and Truck Country. See it all at performancebountiful.com. Eric Butler in KSL Traffic Center.
Looks like a wet Friday shaping up. 45 today with off and on rain. Overnight we'll go 34 with a chance for rain snow showers. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance for a shower. 42 the high. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 43 degrees downtown.
Don't go away. Coming up in a moment. I love this program so much. It's helping refugee kids with the Valentines. You know how, and we've known this because we grew up here, that you give your elementary school kid Valentines and they give them to all the other kids. Refugee kids don't know that.
They wouldn't understand.
No. So we're going to help them coming up in just a moment on KSL.
As long as we're not matchmaking on the other side, too.
No.
All right. In the meantime, it's time for Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox.
As we head toward the Super Bowl, can I take your attention off Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? I mean, just for a minute. You can go back to needing the name of her lipstick that doesn't smear when she kisses her man, or his vaccination status, right after I'm done here, because I want to tell you a story about two quarterbacks, and Swifties, Travis Kelce is not a quarterback. I see your posts that he's a great quarterback. Tight end. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback, and he might be the greatest. His creativity on the field is otherworldly. He has a $500 million contract. He owns a penthouse and a mansion in Kansas City, lavish estates in Missouri and Texas, and let's not forget the endorsement money from Adidas, Oakley, Nestle, and of course, he's State Farm's most valuable, well, you know.
Well, Patrick, it's official.
You're the league's most valuable bundler.
MVB?
Me?
Yes, you, Patrick. His endorsements are worth $20 million a year. It's a good life for a great quarterback. His Super Bowl opponent is the Niners' Brock Purdy. Picked dead last in the NFL draft, he makes $49 million less than Mahomes. In fact, his pay doesn't even hit $1 million a year. And mansions? Nope. He rents an apartment in San Francisco, and to make it affordable, he splits the rent.
So I still have a roommate, one of the offensive linemen here. So he and I are, still splitting rent. I still drive, my Toyota Sequoia.
Yep. The Super Bowl quarterback has a roommate and drives a Toyota. He's a typical 20-something going head-to-head against a 20-something with $500 million. If he gets a Super Bowl ring, Purdy might have to pawn it to make rent. And I want to congratulate you because you went a full minute without thinking about Taylor Swift. Obviously, that minute is over. Carry on.
Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
What do you want to think? Brock Purdy might be getting a little raise.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think he's going to need that roommate.
Nope.
Next year.
No, I don't think so.
He's in for a big raise after the season's done.
Moving on up. And the Minute of News is brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox. IRS harassing you? Law offices of Jordan Wilcox can help. Visit taxhelput.com.
Back in 2004, got a letter from the IRS indicating that I was no longer married, and therefore they were to change my filing status to single.
We were really upset.
I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Listen to what actual clients have had to say about working with us.
As soon as we met Jordan and he started talking to us, number one, he made us feel like we weren't the imbeciles that the IRS had made us feel like for so many years.
I'm Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS tax nightmare.
We have reduced our tax liability by over $42,000.
Visit taxhelput.com or call 801-657-5951 to schedule your free consultation today.
We can move forward with confidence and assurance that we're okay.
That's taxhelput.com.
It's marvelous, just marvelous.
KSL News Time, 6:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
authorities in West Valley City were able to remove a mountain lion sitting in a neighborhood tree. Experts say the warmer weather could be driving some of the recent cougar sightings. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, a stunner for the Utah Jazz. They lost by 3 points to the 76ers at home.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
We still got I-15 traffic holding up decently despite the wet conditions. No new crashes to report yet. City Street's having a lot of issues, especially west side of the valley and along Mountain View, Bangerter 5600 West this morning. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A nice rain soaker today with highs in the mid-40s. Then we'll break things up tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now we have rain and 43 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Let's get a look at our top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The bodies of 3 U.S. service members killed in Jordan return home today. ABC's Karen Travers has more.
President Biden and the First Lady today will travel to Dover Air Force Base in Delaware to meet privately with the families of the 3 service members killed in the drone attack in Jordan. This afternoon, the Bidens participate in the dignified transfer of remains at Dover. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General C.Q. Brown, will also attend. This is a solemn event. No remarks by the president as the bodies of the service members return to the U.S. The White House said the president asked all 3 families if they would like him to be there, and they said yes. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Hamas said to be still studying a proposed ceasefire agreement that would see more prisoners released. One round of serious rain done in Southern California, but an even bigger storm is on the way. And just in from the Labor Department, a very strong jobs report. 353,000 jobs created in the month of January. This is ABC News.
All right, let's go in depth here. Utah Refugee Connection is hoping you will have a heart and help provide Valentines for refugee kids.
Executive Director Amy Harmer says this is an attempt to help these kids understand a holiday they probably did not celebrate in their home countries.
We feel strongly about exposing refugees to the holidays, but also using those to create a sense of connection and belonging. So in March, we're having an International Women's Day event where we'll provide lunch and have music music and some fun for refugees from all over the world, and it's open to individuals to come. We have a Mother's Day event where we actually help with car seats. We have a back-to-school event where people can donate backpacks, and then we have a large carnival to get refugee kids excited for school. Last year, we had about 2,000 people come to that carnival, so it's pretty remarkable. We do a Halloween event where we provide costumes. Now, if you want to talk about freaky holidays, that's one that's hard for refugees. And so we try to do it in a way where it's not traumatizing and we're sensitive to the trauma that they've been through and give them opportunities to have costumes like everyone else, but without violence and gore. And then we have a large holiday event called the Gathering of Light.
Matter of fact, she says they've got another event coming up.
Next Wednesday, we have an event with the Ukrainian community. We have what we call cultural nights, where we invite members of the specific refugee communities to come and share their experience and tell their story. And we invite the general community to come and listen. And instead of us telling you about refugees, you get to hear directly from those individuals what their experiences were, what's helpful, what's not helpful. You know, repeating over and over again louder when someone doesn't understand is not helpful. It's a great way for us to understand more about what they have left behind and the culture that they love, and then try and find ways to incorporate those things into our own lives. We're really good at reaching out and inviting people to go to our church or our social activities, but it's kind of fun when you can go and learn more about their food and the things that they love.
You can find out more at Serve Refugees on Facebook, Instagram, and X. I'm going to go do that right now.
It'll be fun to be able to help.
Yeah, I love that. That's the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
All right, 6:49. If you're on the roads, let's get another look at the drive. Brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Is it looking like a regular Friday flow to you, Andy?
It's holding up okay. The fact that there's a fewer cars this early in the morning is probably helping the fact because it's raining. But your drive times a little bit more than usual on I-15, a couple of extra minutes through the valley. I-80 starting to slow a little bit in that stretch between Saltaire and the airport. Plus, we've got slowing increasing on Bangerter and Mountain View earlier than usual coming up through West Valley. Jason?
And not only are the highways good up north, but we aren't seeing any trouble in the canyons either. Weber, Ogden, and Sardine Canyon are moving smoothly in both directions. The roads, of course, are wet there, so you want to use caution, just like you'll want to over on I-15 and the rest of your highways and side streets up north. Eric?
Nothing terribly out of the ordinary in Utah County, despite the wet roads. You've got some typical stoplight congestion on State Street northbound going from Orem into Linden, and on Timpanogos Highway if you're coming out of Highlands, Alpine, Cedar Hills, and heading west over to the freeway. I-15 in Utah County, despite the water kicking off the tires, we've got good movement throughout the whole county. Big O Tires is locally owned and operated in Utah. Now through February 19th, get up to $160 off select sets of tires after mail-in rebate. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Eric Butler on KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Today's storm is definitely on the mild side. 45 with off and on rain today. We'll go 42 tomorrow, mostly cloudy. Slight chance for a shower. Sunday, partly cloudy, 43, up to 50 degrees, breezy out of the south on Monday. Chance for rain showers. Rain likely Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Temperatures in the 50s and 40s. We drop it down to the low 40s with a slight chance for rain and snow showers as we work into next Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now we do have rain and 43 degrees at the 7-day forecast, brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
All right, so the jobs created in January basically double what was expected. We were looking at 170-something. It comes in at 353. What do you think the markets do to respond?
They went down.
Negative.
Yeah. It's because of interest rates, right? Because now there'll be less of a chance of interest rates going down.
Yeah, that's probably true. But your guess is as good as mine at this point. The Dow is off 45. We'll check money news and the rest of the markets next.
If you're a homeowner, you need to know a company you can trust whenever you need something taken care of, like if your furnace goes out or you need to tune up your air conditioner, or you have a plumbing issue, maybe a flooding somewhere, or an issue with your water heater or water supply. All of the above is Superior Water and Air.
They've always told us that they really believe, and they know the numbers, that they've installed more water heaters than any other company in Utah, and I believe it.
Yeah, I do too.
Here's the other thing you need to know is they are Johnny on the spot and quick to get that repaired to you. One of the reasons is because they stock so many parts. Remember when we took the tour?
Yes.
Of that warehouse behind their offices there?
Yeah. They're not going to tell you, hey, you can go by the big box store and pick that up and then we'll install it. No. They do. They have a warehouse full of parts.
And so they are quick to, get there because every minute counts if you do have a leak somewhere that's causing broader problems. But they can help you just knowing what to do with the little things that can be preventative care and prevent some of these things that come along from happening.
And they can help you get a home standby generator. I got my home standby generator from Superior so that now my internet connection does not get interrupted because when the power goes out, I'm right back there.
Or the best tasting drinking water you can find. Call them, 801-974-9090.
Or go to superiorwaterandair.com.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Right here on KSL News Radio 102.7.
Hey, folks, it's Doug and Kathy with Window World.
Doug, can you believe it's been 20 years?
What's been 20 years?
Well, since we opened our first Window World store.
That is amazing. Our motto today is the same. Quality products, professionally installed, backed up by our awesome warranty.
And our team shares those very same values.
Come see us today. We have stores in Murray and Spanish Fork for your convenience.
Experience the Window World difference. Call 801-281-8111 or visit windowworldutah.com.
And we promise no baloney.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Lululemon is branching out and launching their first ever men's footwear line. The athletic apparel is growing at a slower rate than it has in the past, so it hopes the casual and performance sneaker line will boost their sales.
Americans are asking, where's the beef? New numbers from the USDA show ranchers have the least amount of cattle since the 1970s. It's raising beef prices across the country. They're expecting to be more than $5 a pound this year.
You think that dates us when we throw that line?
Oh, I'm sure.
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef? There's a terrific commercial back in our day.
Yeah, you can actually look it up on YouTube if you so desire. Peloton shares fell 24% after the company warned investors it won't turn a profit for a few more months. The interactive exercise company had mixed results for the holiday quarter, but retail partnerships with Dick's Sporting Goods and Amazon turned some good results.
Let's get a look at your money at this moment. We're about a half hour ahead of the opening bell. Dow futures are down 55. That's 0.1%. But the S&P futures are up 15. That's 0.3. And the NASDAQ is really running this morning. NASDAQ's up 114. That's 0.7%.
We do see a touch of eastbound slowing now on both the 201 highway and I-80 headed east into the valley from Tooele County. We'll check those two spots and the rest of your drive next.
If you've ever set New Year's resolutions before, you know how difficult it is to follow through because you have to wait to see the results. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and in honor of your New Year, New You resolutions, Any Hour Services is having our New Year, New System sale. From now until the end of February, Any Hour Services will give you $2,024 off a new furnace and air conditioner, and you don't have to wait to save the money. You get $2,024 off at the time of purchase. The only thing you have to do to qualify for our New Year, New System sale is call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. When you call, there's no obligation to buy. Just schedule a time to meet that works best for you. Let me say that again. From now until the end of February, when you have Any Hour Services install a new furnace and air conditioner, we'll give you $2,024 off. Call Any Hour Services right now and schedule a free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com. This week, win tickets to the Utah Sportsman's Vacation and RV Show, February 15th through the 18th. Or win tickets to the Crossroads of the West Gun Show, February 10th and 11th in Sandy. Plus, win tickets to see the Utah Symphony perform Prokofiev's Violin Concerto, February 2nd and 3rd at Abravanel Hall. Text the word contest to 57500 or go to KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
6:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon, Andy.
We've got a little bit of delay increasing on Mountain View now out of West Jordan and into West Valley. You've got traffic on Bangerter slowing down pretty consistently now from 35th South to the 201 freeway. And first delays of the morning already showing up on I-15 at 33rd South and on 201 from Bangerter over to Redwood. Jason?
Still looking good pretty much everywhere up north. Even the gates of Hill Air Force Base are running smooth at this point. I-15 remains accident-free. No problems on your other highways or side streets. Eric?
If you're getting over to the freeway in Utah County, not seeing any major problems. University Avenue is starting to get busy from 300 south up to 800 north near the BYU campus. And you've got some typical congestion starting to form for drivers out in Eagle Mountain on SR 73, approaching Mountain View Corridor, and then heading north on Mountain View up to where it turns into 2100 north. That's at that Redwood Road intersection. That's where things are getting just a touch busy. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, we were expecting a high of 45 degrees. What we didn't expect is that we'd get there by 4 o'clock in the morning. It's raining downtown, so we may have already peaked for the day. Showers continue, and we've cooled off just a little bit. 43 now.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 7 o'clock on Utah's Morning News. Good morning, I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story on the 7 o'clock report.
The groundhog may say it's going to be an early spring, but it doesn't look like it here along the Wasatch Front.
It's going to be cold, it's going to be gray, and it's going to last you for the rest of your life.
We do have sort of a cold, wet valley rain right now and some mountain snow across northern Utah.
But it's welcome news for those working to save the Great Salt Lake. Our live team coverage, Utah's Water Watch, begins with KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston live on the roads in Salt Lake City. Peter?
Amanda, this drizzle is giving my car a free car wash here downtown Salt Lake. The moisture is going to be staying here, but it has lost a lot of steam since it was dumping buckets over the west coast. I'm looking at the National Weather Service's latest Utah map, and it shows winter weather advisories along the Wasatch Corridor from Richfield to Logan. Southern Utah is still experiencing the brunt of this storm, with winter storm warnings in place from St. George to Cedar City. The precipitation is going to shift north as we head into this afternoon, but KSL's Matt Johnson says to expect more into the next week. And he says that this is good news for boosting reservoirs and drinking water this summer. And speaking of water, a Utah lawmaker has introduced a new bill aimed at making sure the water we save for the Great Salt Lake actually gets there. KSL News Radio's Adam Small continues our live team coverage, Water Watch. Adam?
Peter, we have set up a system where we know how every drop of water at, for example, Utah Lake is used, but we don't have that set up for the Great Salt Lake yet. That's exactly what Representative Casey Snyder wants to change. He tells the Deseret News his bill would be a holistic plan for all people using upstream water that heads to the Great Salt Lake. Something Great Salt Lake Deputy Commissioner Tim Davis told me previously needs to happen if we're going to save and preserve it in the years to come.
So that's about how complicated it'll be to get the lake back to a healthy level and sustain it there, that everybody needs to be pulling in the same direction.
Now, it is going to take some work, though. Snyder says he plans to ask for around $15 million to get this moving. Live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
It's a powder day down south. Bryan had got 14 inches in the last 24 hours, but here in the northern part of the state, we're expected to pick up later today. As of 5 a.m., Alton Snowbird got 5 new. Brighton, Deer Valley, and Solitude each got 4. Park City Mountain picked up 3, and much more coming in the form of rain right now in the valleys.
Jan Graham, Utah's first and only female attorney general, died on Monday at her home in St. George. She was 74, and her election in 1996 marked the last time a Democrat won a statewide office. She had been battling cancer since 2014.
Now our top national stories this hour. We could soon learn what will come out of a bipartisan Senate negotiation on border policy and what all of it means for aid to Ukraine and Israel.
With the final text still being worked on, Senate Leader Chuck Schumer teed up a Wednesday vote to advance the emerging deal. Reports of what's believed to be in the agreement have sparked opposition from House Republicans and from former President Trump, who's already called it a terrible bill. Opponents point to reports that it would permit the president to shut down crossings, but only after the Border Patrol encounters thousands of migrants each day.
That's ABC News correspondent Stephen Portnoy in Washington.
Employers added a lot more jobs than expected in the month of January, according to the latest data released this morning from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. State Representative and senior economist at Zions Bank, Robert Spenlove, tells Utah's Morning News it's an interesting report.
353,000, that is a huge number. We were expecting 170, so this is much higher than the expectation, and it shows that the labor market continues to grow really well.
The unemployment rate holds steady at 3.7%.
As President Biden wraps up his re-election campaign, he's running into some resistance in a state that helped secure his 2020 victory. On Thursday, Biden was met by pro-Palestinian protesters the moment he landed in Michigan. Michigan is home to the largest Arab American community in the U.S.
Is there any appetite to undo the change that made the state school board elections partisan? KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris posed that question to the woman behind the change 8 years ago.
20 Utahns are all vying for the 8 open seats that will be filled by the end of this year. And this will be the 4th time the elections will be held as partisan races. While some would like the elections to return to nonpartisan, the sponsor of the 2016 bill, Senator Ann Milner, says the partisan races have helped in the vetting process of candidates, allowing Utahns to know more about who is running. She says the races will remain partisan for now.
Primary elections are on June 25th, with general elections on November 5th.
First look traffic on the 7 o'clock report. Let's see how that rain's affecting the drive with Andy Farnsworth.
Well, it is having an effect a little bit, especially crossing from Tooele County. 201 and I-80 are both starting to see some slower traffic near Bangerter Highway and heading over towards the airport. I-15 yet to see any significant delay, but your drive time may be a couple of minutes longer just because of conditions so far. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Suicide and crisis hotlines are struggling to stay staffed.
The 988 hotline is open 24/7 and is estimated to have helped 7 million people over the last 2 years. But the heavy phone calls are starting to take a toll on workers. In some states, more than 2/3 of employees leave within months of taking their first call. Turnover rates increased 1.5 times in the last year alone. In West Virginia, staffing hasn't met required levels for 18 months. And in Colorado, employees lasting 3 months have a turnover rate of 40%. Alexandria Bonia, KSL News Radio.
The co-defendant in a high-profile child abuse case will be allowed to sell her house, but she can't keep the money until the case is resolved. Jody Hildebrand is waiting to hear what restitution will look like. She and YouTube influencer Ruby Franke pleaded guilty to child abuse after one of Franke's kids was found malnourished and looking for help outside of Hildebrand's Ivan's home. The house is roughly worth $5 million.
An organization that helps refugees in the Beehive State is asking for our help.
Utah Refugee Connection is putting together Valentine's kits for school kids.
We are collecting class kits for refugee children. For a lot of them, this is a newer holiday and might not be as familiar, and so we like to give them a package of the Valentines like every other kid takes to school and puts in the Valentine boxes in class.
Executive Director Amy Don Harmer says in addition to these kits, they're taking $12 donations to put together reusable lunch bags that have a Valentine's kit, socks, a knit hat, gloves, and heart-shaped glasses to help them better understand the holiday. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
I just started following them on Instagram. You just follow Serve Refugees on Instagram, and then you can see what they need and what they're doing.
You showed me one of the pictures of an adorable little girl. Yeah. All right, in sports, bit of a stunner for the Jazz. They lost by 3 points to the 76ers at home. The reason it's a surprise is because Philly was without Joel Embiid, but it didn't seem to slow him down. Tyrese Maxey scored 51 on the Jazz last night. Final score, 127-124.
Fans are crying foul over the season ticket prices for University of Utah football games next fall. Season ticket holders got their renewal notices yesterday.
I did.
and coughed. The school says prices are going up less than 5% on average, but there is one fewer home game, so the cost per ticket is up.
Yeah, I posted that on my Facebook page, and a couple of guys that follow me that are season ticket holders are saying, I'm paying more for 6 than I did for 7 last year.
Yeah.
And in the expanded playoff, there's a chance if the Utes have the season some people expect that you'd have a couple of playoff games at home.
Yeah.
And you got to pay for those too. The Deer Valley World Cup is happening this week. Started last night in Park City.
Among the top ski athletes in attendance are the siblings of a Park City family, the Masugas. 3 sisters are on the U.S. ski team, including Allie with her family cheering on Thursday night. The women's freestyle moguls, Lauren, Allie's sister, just returned from Cortina, Italy, competing at the Audi Ski World Cup.
It was my first time doing the downhill there, and I ended up getting 16th. 22nd, and then in the Super G got 15th.
Sister Sam just competed in the ski jump at Yubno, and their brother Daniel is vying for a spot to join his sisters Sam, Lauren, and Allie on the U.S. ski team as well. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
Utah's lawmakers are working to bring an MLB team to Utah, and the Larry H. and Gail Miller Family Foundation has committed $22 million to boost Salt Lake's ballpark neighborhood. The Salt Lake Bees are looking to raise $100 million to redevelop the area.
7:09, time for that look at traffic and weather together. Again, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Any problems out there, really, Andy?
We haven't had any crashes that's caused any big delays in Salt Lake County yet, but the rain is slowing you down, driving traffic a little bit under the speed limit now between Bangerter and Redwood if you're on 21st South. The interchange by the airport between I-80 and 215 is always slick in these kind of conditions, and it looks like that's the case again this morning. If you're driving I-15, about 20 to 22 minutes through the valley if you're going the whole stretch, but so far no significant delay yet. Jason?
And quite a bit of spray kicking up off the roads as you travel around southbound I-15 through Weber and Davis counties this morning. Likewise, on all your other roads, there's some spray kicking up, but so far that hasn't really caused any problems. We don't see any accidents and no major delays out there either. Eric?
I-15 looks good in Utah County, at least as far as your pace is concerned. You do have wet roads, so you need to pay attention, but you still have a 30-minute drive northbound from Santaquin up to Point of the Mountain. And we are seeing things fill in north of Utah Lake, both on SR 73 and Mountain View Corridor. If you swing on to 2100 north, head east toward the freeway, delays are minimal at this point. Along the Wasatch Bank, US 40, no problems northbound from Heber to Park City. Hunt Utah's biggest bucks and bulls for just $5. It's the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo in Salt Lake City, February 15th to 18th. Go to huntexpo.com for details. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL hourly forecast, rain showers around 7 a.m. with temperatures in the low to mid 40s. We'll keep it as rain through the lunch hour. Off and on rain expected for most of the day, and the temperatures just don't move that much. Expecting a high of 45 today with a slight chance for rain snow showers overnight. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
43 degrees in Salt Lake City.
So what if a spy novelist wrote books that were so accurate... ... We'll talk to Andy Farnsworth about the new movie Argyle coming up in a few minutes on KSL.
That's right. It's Movie Show Friday. We all know that skimming credit cards at a gas station is a problem, but the amount thieves get from that is staggering. A Utah man will serve prison time for helping 5 other people steal more than $200,000 over 3 years by skimming cards. Emmanuel Nina Perez was sentenced this week to 2 years in federal prison.
Young adults are going to bed a whole lot earlier. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with why, Michael?
Amanda, it seems like today's 18 to 35-year-olds have a strong belief in the link between sleep and overall health. Sleep Number ran an analysis of that age group and found the average bedtime was 10:06 p.m. Consequently, it looks like they're more likely to ditch bar hopping for hitting the hay. Funny thing is, bars and dance clubs are beginning to notice, and now they're offering matinee services, with Wall Street Journal saying some pubs in New York City even counted down the new year at 8 p.m. That way revelers could be in bed by 11. Not gonna lie though, Amanda, but given how early we clock out to be here for the show in the morning, feels kind of nice knowing others are starting to catch on. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Yeah, it's about your nap time, Michael. A year after vandals unwittingly helped an owl escape the Central Park Zoo, he's still on the loose. His name is Flacco, a Eurasian eagle owl, and he's only gotten better at staying out of the hands of his pursuers in the time since he flew out a hole in his enclosure. 1 year later, the zoo's given up on trying to catch him.
Guess he's eating the rats.
He's thriving. Like the food source from the rats in Manhattan
is enormous.
And so there was a birder who started following him and searching him out. And now there's a website, I guess, or a social media page all for Flacco.
Oh, that's
You
funny.
may want to follow up on it. He's become quite a celebrity back there.
NASA wants to take astronauts back to the moon in 2026, but there's a problem. The moon is shrinking. KSL News Radio's Dale Spalding has the story.
As a planet cools, it shrinks like a balloon left out on a cold day. But a planet can't do that without the outer layer wrinkling, folding, and even cracking. On Earth, we might call those earthquakes, but NASA's learned the moon has moonquakes. This throws a wrench into the works as NASA prepares to send astronauts to the moon in 2026 in their Artemis 3 mission. Scientists want to learn more about these quakes before they allow settlements or colonies to be built there. This comes after Russia and India's attempts to send and land spacecraft on the lunar surface. Dale Spalding, KSL News Radio.
Trending this hour on the 7 o'clock report, one of the most popular YouTubers is partnering with Just Serve. What's his name?
Oh, it's Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast. It's a website owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints where people can find volunteer opportunities all around Utah. His organization, Beast Philanthropy, said the partnership will push the kindness movement forward.
My kids have been showing me crazy things he gives away for years. Larry David is apologizing for attacking Elmo on the Today Show.
Elmo?
Larry?
I just want to apologize.
Thank you, Larry.
That's very big of you.
Elmo accepts your apology, Larry.
The actor playfully grabbed and shook Elmo's face while promoting the last season of his show Curb Your Enthusiasm. He said somebody had to do it. Elmo has got quite a bit of spotlight this week. He posted on X just asking everybody how they were doing, and for some reason that was a hit.
You don't want to mess with Elmo.
No.
Just like Taylor Swift. You don't want to mess with Taylor Swift. KSL News Time, 7:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
20 Utahns are racing to fill one of the 8 vacant seats on the Utah State Board of Education this year, in what will be the 4th year of partisan elections. I'm KSL News Radio's Alessandra Harris.
Second, a cougar was relocated after being found lounging in a tree in West Valley. The big cat was found near 40th South and 52nd West.
Third, a look at traffic and weather together.
Right now, I-15 traffic is running okay despite the wet conditions. We haven't had any crashes to add to your delay. It's mostly just weather. If you're seeing any extra travel time, it's just because the roads are wet. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Off and on rain today, a break over the weekend, then more rain. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now we have rain and 43 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
It's time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Employers across the country apparently spent the month of January reading resumes, checking references, and offering positions. Companies hiring a lot more workers last month than expected. Here's ABC's Dave Packer.
A big surprise from the Labor Department releasing its January jobs numbers, and they were far higher than expected. 353,000 jobs were created in January, far higher than the 185,000 that analysts expected. The unemployment rate at 3.7%, that was anticipated. Much of the hiring lately coming in healthcare, hospitality, construction, and local government. In contrast, media, retail, and tech have been shedding jobs after record hiring during the pandemic. Dave Packer, ABC News.
President Biden will be at Dover Air Force Base today for the dignified transfer of the remains of those 3 U.S. service members killed in that drone attack in Jordan.
Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General C.Q. Brown, will also attend. This is a solemn event. No remarks by the president as the bodies of the service members return to the U.S. The White House said the president asked all 3 families if they would like him to be there, and they said yes. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
The bipartisan Senate negotiations on border security are nearly completed, with the immigration bill itself expected to be released soon. ABC national correspondent Stephen Portnoy takes a look at what we do know about it.
With the final text still being worked on, Senate Leader Chuck Schumer teed up a Wednesday vote to advance the emerging deal. Reports of what's believed to be in the agreement have sparked opposition from House Republicans and from former President Trump, who's already called it a terrible bill. Opponents point to reports that it would permit the president to shut down crossings, but only after the Border Patrol encounters thousands of migrants each day.
Tesla is recalling nearly all of its vehicles in the U.S. because of a warning light font change that can be fixed with a software update. It's Groundhog's Day. The country's most famous groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, predicting an early spring this morning. You're listening to ABC News.
All right, it's Movie Show Friday. So what if a spy novelist wrote books that were so accurate, real spies started looking for her to find out what will happen next?
You and I, we're not so different.
Agent Argyle.
Little help? Hold on.
The big movie is called Argyle.
Joining us now for a movie show preview is Andy Farnsworth. Did you like it, Andy?
Well, I mean,
not a good start.
So, well, all right. So here's Bryce Dallas Howard she plays an author named Ellie, and then her best-selling novels are about a super spy named Argyle, and in the movie, that's played by Henry Cavill with the worst haircut, although I think that's on purpose. But because, like, these novels keep predicting real-world events, real spies eventually try to capture Ellie to find out, hey, what's going to happen next in the world? And then suddenly she's on a train, and Sam Rockwell shows up in a beard that you don't even recognize him at first. And then she needs Sam Rockwell's help, basically to stay alive. And also, she always has that gray cat with her. If you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. She has it in like a little yellow backpack. Now, this movie's made by the same guy who did the Kingsman movie series, Matthew Vaughn. So it's in that vein, although it's not nearly as gross as the Kingsman movie series was. But it's like a mix of action and comedy, and it's intentionally ridiculous. Really impressive cast. Dua Lipa, John Cena, Sam Jackson, Sam Rockwell, as I mentioned, Ariana DeBose. And it does have some funny moments and plot twists, but there were so many plot twists and some of the ridiculous. Now, look, I am a forgiving person. Like, I'm willing to just take the ride of a movie. But some of these ridiculous things even strained my notoriously forgiving suspension of disbelief.
So you're telling me this cake has too much icing?
Yeah, this was... I mean, there's not a lot of else stuff to choose from in the theaters right now.
Kevin Carr this morning on America in the Morning called it largely forgettable.
It's memorable in the wrong ways. Like, there's some scenes I'm not going to forget just because I was like, stop it.
Oh, no.
But if you're going to say, like, I would say this, go with, like, some friends because you'll have a blast making fun of it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We'll look forward to your review of that, see what Steve thinks later this morning. And you guys are on the road this week, or
Yes,
no?
we are at NPS this morning.
All right.
From 11 to 1, and we'll be, you can come see us, though, before the movie show and chat movies with us.
Look forward to it.
Thanks.
7:19, traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And put your other hat on, Andy.
All righty. Slowdowns have been really completely due to the wet conditions. We haven't had a lot of slowdowns, surprisingly, and it helps that this Friday morning traffic's a little bit lighter. It does seem like the rain's not falling as heavily now, especially at the south end of Salt Lake County as it was earlier this morning, but expect some 201 delays in Magna and then some minor slowdowns on I-80 kind of by the airport, especially on the interchange with I-215's west side. Jason?
And likewise up north, the roads are starting to dry out quite a bit, so it's looking better, and your speeds remain good. If you were southbound I-15 from Ogden to Salt Lake City, not really going to find any problems there. Also looking good, 89 Legacy and the West Side Belt. Eric.
Well, there are potential slick spots out in the mountains if you're on I-80 going out to Park City this morning, but we don't have any delays and we haven't had any crashes, so we count ourselves fortunate in that regard. If you're westbound into Park City from US 40 on Kearns Boulevard, you've got typical slowing there. Right now in Utah County, I-15 is looking good northbound from Santa Quin to Point of the Mountain. Prioritize your marriage and celebrate your relationship. Celebrate with a virtual date at the Utah Marriage Celebration, Friday, February 9th. Register at StrongerMarriage.com. That's StrongerMarriage.com. Eric Butler on the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. We've got rain today, 45 the high. Tomorrow, 42, mostly cloudy, and a slight chance for a shower. Partly cloudy, 43 on Sunday. We're back at it with rain showers on Monday, 50 the high. Up to 51, 10 above the normal on Tuesday. Rain showers likely. We keep rain in the forecast for your Wednesday. Rain snow showers by next Thursday. It looks active. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
You remember praying and asking for precipitation?
Oh, yeah, here it is.
Yeah, here it comes. 43 degrees and raining downtown right now. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
We're going to have some college basketball on our air tomorrow night. It's BYU taking on West Virginia. BYU travels back east for that big game. The pregame is at 3, the tip-off at 4. You love the Greg Wrubell call right here on the home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 7:22.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. The downtown farmers market has once again transitioned out of Pioneer Park and into the gateway for the winter season. Carly Gillespie, Deputy Director of Urban Food Connections of Utah, joins us with more.
The mission of the market is to support sustainable regional agriculture, build community gathering places, increase access to nutritious local foods in urban areas, and educate the consumer about shopping local. This is our 10th year organizing the winter season, and by far it is the largest. More than 60 farmers, ranchers, bakers, artists, and makers are setting up their booths indoors for the winter season. Farmers are increasingly using greenhouses in Utah, so new visitors might be surprised by the amount of fresh foods like garlic, carrots, onions, and beets. Patrons will also find artisan cheeses, savory sauces and salsas, yummy baked goods, and fresh meats. Plus, there's a wonderful family-friendly atmosphere that is inviting to all. With your support, we're achieving the goals and ensuring the community always has access to delicious local food year-round. Visit the Winter Farmers Market at the Gateway every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
By visiting the market, Utahns are supporting local farms and businesses as they bring their products directly to the public. To learn more, visit the Salt Lake City Farmers Market website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure that you'll get your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt!
And Jackson Hewitt also guarantees the accuracy of your return for life. So don't just sit there. For your biggest refund guaranteed, walk into a Jackson Hewitt today and dance out Jackson Hewitt! Yeah!
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Quaker is expanding their recall once again, now including Quaker Chewy Dips Llama Rama bars. That's fun to say. Any six-pack box with the best before date of February 10th or 11th should not be eaten.
It is one of those that you just get a little giggle out of, isn't
Yeah.
it? Amazon reporting better than expected revenue and profits for the fourth quarter thanks to holiday shopping. The e-commerce company said it earned $170 billion in revenue. Now, remember, this was a quarter. And $10.6 billion in profits during the last 3 months of 2023.
KSL Drive's 2.2 million Teslas are being recalled because of font size. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says it's too small on warning lights, and that can make critical safety information difficult to read. The vehicles with the problem are going to get a free over-the-air software update.
All right, so the numbers come out this morning for jobs, and it's like double, more than double the expected number, and the market's saying, yeah, I don't like that. The Dow is off 133 just ahead of the bell. The S&P, for all intents and purposes, is flat right now. The NASDAQ is up, but it's only up 60.
Wow, a truck slipped off the road eastbound I-80 to go north on the 215 West Belt. I guess that's near the airport. We're going to check that and the rest of your commute. Wet roads for sure. That's coming up next on KSL News Radio.
I want to take a minute and talk to you if you're a business owner out there who lately, because it feels like the world is moving faster than you can, move your company ahead. You feel like you're kind of on an island out there sometimes with technology and how you can harness that and help your company not just exist, but thrive.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel that way because there is a company out there that wants to be your business partner, and they're in the business of keeping you in business. We're talking about Les Olson IT.
So, are you an office manager or a business owner? Are you functioning at peak capacity, using all the technology that's available to you that can make your people more productive, make your shipping more effective, everything, give you the best price per page of printing and copying? If you can't answer a firm yes to that, why not sit down with Les Olson and just let him tell you, I can save you money here, I've got you over here, I can save you a little money on this, but because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, that's one thing. The other side of it is if you're concerned about security, not just for your customers, but for your employees. Mm-hmm. If you're concerned about technology that would make it more efficient for you to do your job every day, but you don't know anything about servers, nothing about cabling. You need new monitors, whatever it is.
Or security for your data. How secure is your data? Do you feel confident about that, or do you have some virus concerns? They can even give you a little once-over and give you a report on how secure your data is.
Yeah, so start that process. Give them a call today. Get to know Les Olson IT. They've got 9 locations from Logan to Las Vegas.
Just go to lesolson.com.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Representative Celeste Malloy joins us live in studio today. She's trying to make sure that federal dollars go to women-owned small businesses. Representative Malloy today, live on Dave and Dujanovic.
Now we know.
November 9th, 2024, BYU and Utah will play in Salt Lake City.
281 days until the rivalry game.
Touchdown, Cougars!
281 days of anticipation.
And the Cougs are right back in it.
Hear about the key matchups and feel all the emotion on this station. We are Utah's legacy home for the Cougars, Big 12 football, and Rivalry Week. KSL News Radio.
Join KSL in the movie show today from 10 to 1 at the Salt Lake NPS store, 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City, npsstore.com.
7:29, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Unless that truck, Andy, has four-wheel drive or something, I don't think it should be down in there.
Yeah, it's probably best to stay on the paved, especially when dirt gets all muddy. But yeah, truck went off the road on the ramp from eastbound I-80 to northbound 215, and now it's having an impact on both the main flow, 3300 south, 201 freeway's got some brake lights waiting for you around 3200 west. Jason?
It's a little busy on Hillfield Road, both north and southbound as you approach the south gate there of Hill Air Force Base. But otherwise, the rest of your roads are looking really good. We do have some wet roads, but they are starting to dry out a little bit. And, of course, volume is pretty light. So no real problems in Weber and Davis counties. Eric?
Along the 215 East Belt's a good drive, albeit wet, as you head alongside the mountains from 6200 south up to the mouth of Parley's Canyon, getting up onto Foothill Drive. Some stoplight congestion en route to the University of Utah. Getting out to Park City, now that's a steady slowdown as you head west from US 40 on Kearns Boulevard into town. I-15 in Utah County still rolling along without any accidents or delays. You'll spend 33% of this year on your mattress. That's almost 3,000 hours. Start sleeping comfortably on a new Serta mattress from Two Brothers Mattress. Learn more at twobrothersmattress.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Yep, we've got rain in the forecast for today. In fact, we have a chance of rain every single day of the next 7, although probably tomorrow will be just mostly cloudy, and Sunday mostly just a few clouds as well. But rain Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, wow. So here we are. Right now it's raining and 43 degrees downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio.
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 7:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
A mountain lion sighting in West Valley City is just the latest in a string of big cats to be spotted and then relocated in the last few weeks.
We get the latest live from KSL News Radio's Adam Small. Adam?
Amanda, this was definitely an evening to remember for Daniel last night around 40th South, 5200 West.
I was just standing out here making a phone call and just happened to look up in the tree, and as I was talking on the phone, I was like, that doesn't look right.
He tells the West Valley City Fire Department he took a closer look, and sure enough, it was a mountain lion. You can see its tail sticking right out of the tree. Experts have told me it's possible we might be seeing more cougars in the valley right now because they might be following any deer that are coming down here since, easier terrain, little to no snow on the ground. As for this cat, though, I can happily report he was safely removed from West Valley and located to a new place to hang out in the trees much farther away from here. Live in West Valley City, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A sinkhole in Sandy flooded homes and left crews with their hands full. KSL TV's Andrew Adams reports.
Long after dark, crews were working tirelessly to replace what had suddenly vanished. The 25-foot wide, possibly 25-foot deep sinkhole taught this neighborhood some hard lessons. Angela Profsgaard says she came outside to find a river gushing down Silver Sage Drive.
Residents say they were grateful for the fast response.
New 16 and 17-year-old drivers in Utah have to wait 6 months before they can drive their peers. One lawmaker is pushing to remove that waiting period. Here is KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston with more. Peter?
Amanda, the law currently blocks teen drivers from bringing anybody who's not immediately family
in the car with them for 6 months after they get their license.
Our kids are doing this. They are driving with other friends, and they're breaking the law, so maybe the law should change.
That's State Representative Kira Birkeland, who's sponsoring the bill. KSL-TV reports her original plan was to remove any restrictions on the number of people a 16 or 17-year-old could carpool with, but she compromised.
Let them pick up a friend, but they still have to obey all the speeding laws. They still have to be safe drivers.
The Driving by Minors amendments got out of the House committee and now goes to the House floor for a vote. Reporting live from the state capitol, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Looks like the flap over Utah's new state flag isn't going anywhere with a renewed effort to restore the old one. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has that story. Michael?
Tim, there's a political action committee called Are You Listening Yet? And they're saying the whole process of adopting the new flag went all wrong. Mainly, they argue entire packets of signatures to restore the old flag were rejected due to some signatures in these packets failing to meet the deadline or other criteria. Think one bad apple spoiling the whole barrel. Adding to the problem, you can't sign your name on these types of things twice. It's considered a misdemeanor, meaning if your name was tossed, then you're unable to resubmit. Now, the old flag will be officially replaced on March 9th, but the PAC's asking for an extension on that deadline to submit names. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories now. New numbers from the Labor Department this morning show hiring remained strong in January. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze reports.
The American jobs market overall is in remarkably strong shape, with hiring accelerating. The new jobs report shows that 353,000 workers were added to the workforce in January. That was way above expectations. On average, every month last year, 255,000 jobs were added, a historically strong rate.
That leaves the unemployment rate at 3.7% nationwide.
A new kind of cosmetic surgery is on the rise. It's leg lengthening procedures. ABC's Asan Singh talked to one of the world's leading limb lengthening surgeons about how it works.
He claims that it's just creating a small perforated dotted line similar to that on a paper towel, and they're creating a small break in the bone, and then he just puts a rod in there. And then for up to 30 to 60 days, he's increasing the patient's height by a millimeter. And that rod is basically growing, and they just do it through an app.
The surgery is mostly being performed on men.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
Amanda, right now, travel on I-15 is still struggling in South Salt Lake, starting to slow now in Murray as well. A crash on the west side, actually a couple of them. There's one on the ramp from eastbound 80 to north 215, and then there's a crash on southbound 215 right by 700 north. So these are both on the west side over by the airport. And Utah County looks like it's about to slow down, but I think that's actually on Main Street rather than the freeway as you head south through Lehigh. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's look at the weather now with Matt Johnson's help.
Across the Wasatch Front today, windows of rain giving way to rain-snow showers overnight. Not much accumulating in the way of snow. And as we work through the weekend, it looks dry Saturday, Sunday, but another wet and mild storm expected as we head into next week.
Matter of fact, all next week looks rainy.
Just as President Biden is ramping up his re-election campaign, he is running into some resistance. ABC's M. Wynn reports from Washington.
A new national poll shows Biden losing to former President Trump, 49 to 45%. The gap grows even wider in a potential matchup with Nikki Haley. And Biden faces more challenges on Capitol Hill. The House passed a tax cut bill this week with bipartisan support, but it faces opposition in the Senate. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley says he won't support the bill because it would make Biden look good.
The president was also met with protesters in Michigan while campaigning at a United Auto Workers event.
It was a party atmosphere this morning at Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
Make some noise, Punxsutawney!
Punxsutawney Phil, the nation's go-to groundhog, predicted an early spring this morning when he emerged from his burrow, and he did not see his shadow.
Fake ivy is deterring graffiti in Tacoma. Public Works Director Ray Bailey says the city installed a few kinds back in 2017, and it seems to keep taggers away.
Any place we'd had real ivy growing, we weren't seeing the graffiti, tags on our walls. So, we thought that this would be a good deterrent. And like I said, for the most part, it has been.
But Bailey says the fake ivy can be expensive, so it may not be a solution for large areas like freeway walls.
Easter and Christmas services will become simplified from now on at meeting houses for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. In a letter sent from the First Presidency earlier this month, local leaders were advised to limit Easter and Christmas services to just a single hour for sacrament meeting.
We have a couple of crashes near the airport. The most recent is southbound on the West Belt, blocking a right lane. We'll check that coming up. Traffic and weather together on KSL.
Join your friends who rely on KSL each morning for the fastest routes to work and school.
I like traffic on the 9s.
So I need to get the kids up earlier so that my son isn't driving quickly in a snowstorm.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s.
On KSL News Radio.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, savvy, staying ahead of the market at every turn, finding ways to do more with less, and taking advantage of every opportunity that comes their way. That's why Comcast Business is introducing the Small Business Bonus. For a limited time, you can get up to a $1,000 prepaid card when you switch to Comcast Business, the company with the largest, fastest, reliable network. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call or go online to learn about the $1,000 bonus today.
Give your business a head start in 2024. Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Call or go online to switch today. Ends 2/21/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 50 megabits per second internet and security edge. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Prepaid card offer requires premium internet.
The Utah Department of Health and Human Services wants to make sure people in Utah can live safe and healthy lives. To do that, they need to understand what services people can access in their communities and what barriers they face to accessing services where they live. For this survey, they want to hear from people in Utah, specifically people older than 60, adults with disabilities of any kind, or caregivers and service providers of older people or adults with a disability. The results will be sent to the Division of Aging and Adult Services so they can better meet the needs of people across the state of Utah. Take this survey at utahcommunitysurvey.com or by calling 800-293-1538, extension 1610. All information will remain anonymous. Again, that's utahcommunitysurvey.com or 800-293-1538, extension 1610. 800-293-1538, extension 1610.
7:39, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, travel on I-15 a little bit slow, 106, 53rd and 33rd south as the volume of traffic has increased a lot. We've got a crash on the ramp from eastbound 80 to northbound 215. It initially caused a lot of backup, but now that seems to be a little bit more moving a little bit more regularly. 201's got slowdowns in Magna, and then again near 215 in West Valley. Jason?
Got an accident out on the west side belt. This is southbound side at about 700 north as you try and slide past the airport. So right lane is blocked there, so you're going to stick over to the left. It's not helping that the roads are wet, and of course the volume is increasing, so you're going to be a little bit slow through that stretch right there. Otherwise, I-15 itself is starting to look a little bit better as far as the roads drying out. Volume is still light up north. Eric?
Getting ready to slow down if you're heading into Park City from US 40. Of course, these are typical delays. If you're used to driving in that area, you'll be used to this. Slowing from US 40 on Kearns Boulevard over into the center of town. I-80 into the mountains. Not seeing any issues despite the wet pavement in spots, and we have had a rain-snow mix in some parts of the canyon this morning. I-15 Utah County is looking good. Your normal pace from Springville to Point of the Mountain, 22 minutes. Get the best Valentine's gift ever, a Minky Couture blanket. Save 50% by using promo code KSL50 in stores and online at minkycouture.com. Minky Couture, the best Valentine's gift ever. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looks like a wet Friday shaping up. 45 today with off and on rain. Overnight we'll go 34 with a chance for rain snow showers. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a 40% chance for a shower. 42 the high. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
It's a mild start to the morning, even in Park City, where it's 32 this hour, but Salt Lake City this hour with some rain, 43 degrees.
It was quite a January jobs report we got a little more than an hour ago. It showed that we added twice as many jobs in January as they had predicted. We'll talk to Caleb Silver about it next on KSL.
Right now, though, it's time for Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, and it's brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox.
There are a lot of things that are black. Bears, some birds, beans that go great in burritos. Black is the color of olives, onyx, and oil. Prunes and pepper and panthers are black. Penguins and piano keys are only half black. just like the new Utah license plates. I have a hard time wrapping my mind around this, but in this gloriously colorful state, the prison inmates are pounding out boring black plates with reflective white letters. I would think they'd be as unpopular as those black jazz uniforms, but not the case. These new plates look so generic that instead of the word Utah, they might as well just use the word state. Nonetheless, they're selling so fast that if you want one, you're going to have to wait. Axios reports there's a 6,000 plate backlog for these basic black tags because they're throwbacks. They harken back to a time when your grandpa was cruising in a 68 Camaro, windows rolled down, Beach Boys cranked up. His plates were the same color as outer space, and now yours can be too because Utah is back in black. And it goes with anything, whether your car is Dayglow blue, zesty yellow, or midnight gray, the plates match the tires. And honestly, I saw a couple of them on the way home last night, and they look awesome. So here in the Beehive State, it's official. Black is the new black.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
You want one of those?
I'm not a fan. I'm like Jeff. I just don't get it. They look so blasé to me, but Gustavo's all about it. He says they look really good on his silver car.
I bet they do look good on your car, Gustavo. Well, the Minute of News is brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox. IRS harassing you? The law offices of Jordan Wilcox can help. Visit taxhelput.com.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life, it's never good news. It's not just you.
My husband passed away. He had been ill for quite some time. And he did the taxes, but he forgot to send them in. He never sent the forms in. And this was the beginning of my nightmare.
Don't face the IRS alone. With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone.
I got all these letters from the IRS telling me I owed them $63,000. I had a good friend that she said, "You need an attorney." She said, "Call Jordan Wilcox."
You need someone to fight for you.
He said, "Cynthia, we're going to give him $3,000. How does that sound?" I started crying because I was overwhelmed.
Visit taxhelput.com and get relief today. Let's solve your tax problems now. Visit taxhelput.com.
You have it made in the shade with Jordan Wilcox.
That's taxhelput.com.
KSL News Time, 7:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a Utah lawmaker has introduced a new bill aimed at making sure the water we save for the Great Salt Lake actually gets there. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, Utah's first and only female attorney general has died. Jan Graham was 74 years old.
Third, let's look at the drive with traffic and weather together.
North 15 slowdowns increasing as you head into downtown Salt Lake. A crash on 215's west side had the right lane blocked, although it looks like some of the emergency vehicles are pulling away now. That's near 700 North, but traffic is backed up almost to the Legacy merge in Davis County. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A nice rain soaker today with highs in the mid-40s. Then we'll break things up tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
We do have rain and 43 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Time now for our top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. New from the Labor Department this morning, the number of jobs created last month, a lot more than expected.
The American jobs market overall is in remarkably strong shape, with hiring accelerating. The new jobs report shows that 353,000 workers were added to the workforce in January. That was way above expectations. On average, every month last year, 255,000 jobs were added, a historically strong rate.
That's ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. President Biden, the defense secretary, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff will be at Dover Air Force Base today for the dignified transfer of the remains of those 3 U.S. service members killed in a drone strike in Jordan. Members of the Senate close to completion on that border security bill. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer signaling he's ready to advance it as soon as Wednesday. Several people aboard a small plane and an unknown number of people on the ground in Clearwater, Florida, killed last night when the plane went down in a mobile home park. This is ABC News.
Let's go in depth now. Employers added a lot more jobs than expected, but the number of Americans applying for unemployment is also growing.
Editor-in-chief of Investopedia, Caleb Silver, joins us live. Help us make sense out of this, Caleb.
Yeah, well, we did have that blowout jobs report. We were expecting around 170,000 jobs, getting 353,000. The unemployment rate staying at 3.7%. That's 3 months in a row. People are still looking for work because there are still a lot of jobs out there. So the way that the Labor Department calculates this, they actually call homes. They do a nationwide survey to see who's looking for work. If you say I'm looking, then you're technically unemployed. So not an exact picture of how much unemployment there is. The fact is there's still about 1.4 jobs for every available worker, plenty of jobs, and the wages keep increasing. We're at a 4.5% annual rate, a hot jobs market with wage increases. The Fed was trying to cool this down, not necessarily working right here.
You know, one thing we used to focus on, we haven't talked a lot about lately, is the participation rate because it had been historically low. Where are we with that?
Yeah, 62.5%, unchanged from last month. That is a little bit higher than expected, a little bit higher than normal, but it usually is around 61%. So not crazy there. The fact that their labor participation rate is high, especially among women and especially among people of various ages, tells you that the workforce is strong and people are getting jobs in places like healthcare right now. Retail continues to hire, professional and business services. Those are your lawyers. Those are your accountants. These are good paying jobs you can build a career on. So the labor market's super robust.
So why is the Dow down?
Because everybody was hoping that the Federal Reserve was going to indicate some rate cuts maybe at the next meeting in March. We knew we weren't going to get them this week, but March was a possibility, and definitely by May. Well, Fed Chair Powell telling us a couple of days ago they're in no hurry to lower interest rates, and this jobs report here, very hot here, lots of hiring, and wage increases tells them we shouldn't cut rates at all for a long time. So this could be a mid-year to back half of the year rate cut situation. The stock market was anticipating sooner rate cuts. That's why you see the sell-off.
Here's the other thing I've noticed with these numbers. When we anticipate numbers coming out on Wednesday, Tuesday the markets make a run up. So it's sort of already baked in. That's what happened yesterday.
Yeah, we buy the rumor, sell the news here in Wall Street, and that's just what investors do. The economy, the stock market, way out ahead of the economy always. And I think the notion going into Wednesday was the Fed's going to indicate a rate cut maybe in March, maybe in May. But after we heard Fed Chair Powell's press conference, there was no indication of that at all, and they are in no hurry. He just said, just everybody cool down a little bit. We got to look at more data. This is some of that data they were waiting for, and it tells them labor market's still way too hot to start cutting interest rates.
Okay, just cool down, everybody. I love that, Caleb.
Take a seat.
Yeah, take a seat. Caleb Silver, thank you, editor-in-chief of Investopedia on the In-Depth at 15 and 45.
All right, here comes that look at traffic and weather together. If you're making your way in this morning, it's brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Here's Andy.
Even on a Friday, we hit the peak of the commute. We got it right now, I-15 slowdowns between 7200 South, 53rd South, and then some stop and go on the main corridor of I-15, and on a little bit on the collector from about basically the Home Depot at 21st South up to about the 6 South exit. We've also got 201 slowdowns increasing, not just in Magna, but now in between Bangor Highway and Redwood Road. And eastbound 80, still have that crash on the ramp from eastbound 80 to 215 by the airport. Jason?
And they zoomed the camera out, and now we can see what the real problem here is southbound on the west side belt at about 700 North. It's a jackknife semi, and so that's not going anywhere for a little while. Right lane remains blocked there. You're going to want to stick over to the left, starting to cause some pretty significant delays through that stretch at this point. The good news is I-15 remains really clear as you travel southbound from Ogden to Salt Lake. Eric?
Starting to bunch up a little bit getting over to the freeway if you're out at Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs and using Pioneer Crossing, 2100 North, and in between Lehigh's Main Street. Mountain View is also a little bit slow as you get onto it from SR 73. I-15, though, continues to hold at a regular rate of speed. It's a 28-minute drive northbound from Payson up to the point of the mountain. Along the Wasatch Back, no difficulties on US 40, but usual slowdowns westbound on Kearns Boulevard from US 40 into town. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Look at all that rain, Matt.
Oh, I love seeing it. And, making a bit of a complicated commute. We'll go for 45 today, off and on rain through most of the afternoon. We'll go mostly cloudy tomorrow. I've kind of dried things out. There is a slight chance for a shower still. High of 42. Partly cloudy on Sunday. It's 43. And then it's breezy with a couple of showers possible. 50 degrees on Monday. Tuesday, 51. Rain. We keep rain in the forecast Wednesday and even Thursday. We can mix in with a little bit of snow. Now, if you can believe this, we're expecting, a quarter to 3/4 of an inch with this storm. The next storm looks like a ½ inch to 1.25 inches
Wowzer.
of water. So that one looks even wetter.
I don't even need to ask which direction this came in because you just need to know that Brian Head got 14 inches. Snow Base and Powder Mountain got 1 or 2.
Yep. Very telling.
Came from down that way. All right, Matt, have a good weekend. Right now, light rain downtown, 43 degrees.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
Affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions. Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Tim and Amanda.
Yes, KSL is a trusted institution. I mean, it's a 100-year-old institution, and I know that with that legacy comes a responsibility and a trust. But I want you to know, we have diverse voices at this radio station. Young people, we have people of all different ages, of all different cultural backgrounds, who put their 2 cents into what stories we cover from day to day. We also are young in terms of our employees.
Well, I've been kicking around the Salt Lake City market for 40 years. I felt like I needed a decade of radio under my belt before I even attempted to climb that mountain. So as important as KSL is to you, you need to know that it's an important institution for both of us and something that we take very seriously in the responsibility of providing the right news and information for you and your families every day and carrying on the tradition of this great radio station.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Representative Celeste Malloy joins us live in studio today. She's trying to make sure that federal dollars go to women-owned small businesses. Representative Malloy today, live on Dave and Dujanovic.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Data shows that 2/3 of Utah's hospitals are nonprofit. 18 of the 21 rural hospitals are nonprofit, supporting access and care to the areas that need it most.
ExxonMobil's fourth quarter revenue and profits declined. Similar to Shell, the oil giant was weighed down by a hefty impairment charge tied to regulatory issues in California.
We mentioned a minute ago with Caleb that the markets had turned negative on us after those numbers, and the Dow is down almost 150 points now, which is 0.4%. The S&P eking out a 0.2% gain, and the NASDAQ is up almost 92 points.
It's time for Cougar Tracks, and here is KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper.
The last time BYU basketball traveled to Morgantown, West Virginia, Harry S. Truman was the president of the United States. Saturday's trip to the country roads will be BYU's first since 1947. It's an important game, as they all are in Big 12 play. On paper, West Virginia has an underwhelming record of 8-13 overall, but they are healthy now.
This West Virginia team is really good. You think about it. So all they've done in the last 2 weeks is beat Kansas, beat Texas, and beat Cincinnati. And that's its 8-win team. Go figure. This Jesse Edwards was unbelievable last night. His size and length and the space he covers. And, if you talk about one piece that's going to change your whole existence as a team. And then they've got some other guys healthy. Their roster's finally healthy.
BYU versus West Virginia tips off tomorrow at 4 p.m. and coverage begins at noon with Cougar Sports Saturday right here on KSL. With Cougar Tracks, I'm Mitch Harper on your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Experience classical hits through a new lens. The Utah Symphony presents Masterworks Magnified, themed and fun-filled concert events that take you beyond the music. Are you a book lover? February 2nd and 3rd, discover the world of music inspired by literature. Then on April 26th and 27th, explore the powerful connection between music and motion. Bring a date or a few friends for a night out at downtown Salt Lake City's Abrovno Hall. Before the concert, grab drinks and specialty concessions and explore themed activities. Then settle into your seat. A host will guide you through the music and captivating visuals will be projected as the orchestra plays. Masterworks Magnified is the perfect first symphony concert or a chance to experience classical music in a new way. Tickets start at $21 at utahsymphony.org/magnified.
Experience classical music hits through a new lens with Utah Symphony's Masterworks Magnified performances. Learn more at utahsymphony.org.
It's only a minute of news. How long could it take? I do a lot of surfing late at night. I'm looking at all my favorite internet sources, Wall Street Journals, New York Times. People throw me ideas, but when I sit down in the morning and it's time to write, it has to resonate with me. I have to have something to say about it. It is my minute of news.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Meet Aileen.
Hello.
Aileen suffers from FOMO.
Fear of missing out.
Missing out on her favorite KSL shows.
I really do.
Fear not, Aileen. Just bring up the podcast page at KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's Morning News, Dave and Debbie, Boyd Matheson, and Jeff Kaplan are all there. Plus BYU Cougar Podcasts, The Movie Show, and more.
No more FOMO?
No more FOMO. When you can't listen live, we have you covered at KSLNewsRadio.com.
7:59, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. How's it looking, Andy?
Well, the slowdown's increasing in downtown because of a crash. Semis are really struggling today. In fact, all the crashes we have on the freeway right now are semi-involved. Including the one at 1300 South. We've got slowdowns in Midvale as well. And the ramp from eastbound 80 to north 215, a semi went off the road there. Redwood is really backing up now in South Salt Lake, coming up on the 21st South Freeway. Jason?
And we have a semi with a problem southbound on the west side belt at about 700 North. It's jackknifed off to the right side and blocking the right lane, as a matter of fact, as you try to slide past the airport out there. I-15 rolls good right now from Ogden down to Salt Lake City. No delays there. 89 is also looking good. No problems on Legacy. Eric?
And it's not bad in Utah County. I-15 on what roads is still moving at a normal pace, 22 minutes from Springville to Point of the Mountain. If you're heading through Provo Canyon, 189 not bad this morning, and not seeing any delay spots on Highway 6 if you're heading out to through Spanish Fork Canyon. Advanced Window Products, high efficiency windows, $2,500 off 10 windows or more for a limited time. AdvancedWindows.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We were only looking for a high of 45 degrees, and we found that when we got here at 4 a.m. Right now, light rain downtown and still 43 in Salt Lake City.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 8 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
Better keep your jackets and umbrellas ready to go because this weekend's rain is just one round of a very stormy week coming our way.
We begin our live team coverage, Utah's Water Watch, with KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston. Peter?
Amanda, that moisture train is getting called the Pineapple Express. It's rolled in from Hawaii, and it's keeping the rain a lot more mild here than it did in California. KSL's Matt Johnson says southern Utah is the state's wettest area today.
Enterprise, 3/4 of an inch. St. George, 63/100. You get into Cedar City, and it's anywhere from 1/3 of an inch to 4/10 of an inch.
Johnson says things will dry out tomorrow and Sunday, but get ready because another storm will land in Utah come Monday. If you're not the biggest rain fan, I'm sorry to inform you that your hair will get damp throughout the next week. Reporting live from the Capitol, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Speaking of tracking water, one lawmaker wants to track the water we're saving for the Great Salt Lake to see if it's actually getting there. KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Tim, Representative Casey Snyder has introduced a bill that would create a full water distribution plan for the Great Salt Lake. Snyder tells the Deseret News, for example, Utah Lake, even when it's full, anyone who wants to divert water can't because every drop is allocated for a purpose. He wants to make sure every drop is being allocated the way it should be, and the Great Salt Lake as well. If this were to be signed into law, it would be a huge step forward in the strategic plan to save the lake, as I spoke about previously with Great Salt Lake Deputy Commissioner Tim Davis.
The key work that we'll be doing is figuring out how much water we're already conserving and getting to the lake. Then we'll also be identifying how much water we need to get each year.
Snyder says he plans to ask for around $15 million to help get this done. Live in Salt Lake County, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories now. It is rain and snow here, but in California, residents are bracing for an increased threat of mudslides, especially in the early half of next week.
The National Weather Service is using the term life-threatening for this next storm, and they are saying that, and some of the computer models are printing out, more than a half foot of rain. If you do that, that's months worth of rain in just a couple of days, and that will cause big problems. It really starts up Saturday night, that next storm, and goes through Sunday, Monday, and then lingers.
That's ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z.
Depending on whether you love to ski and snowboard or you just want to go hit the golf course, there's some great news from Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
Glad tidings on this Groundhog Day. An early spring is on the way.
Punxsutawney Phil did not see his shadow, and on Groundhog Day, that means an early spring.
Employers added a lot more jobs than expected in the month of January, 353,000 all told, according to the latest numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. State Representative Robert Spendlove is the senior economist at Zions Bank.
Yes, layoffs are happening, but as quickly as those people are being laid off, they're being scooped up by other companies, other industries. This has been the big surprise for the past year, has been this remarkable resiliency of the economy and of the labor market.
Nationwide, the unemployment rate is 3.7%.
You can help share the love with refugee children this Valentine's Day.
To help these kids understand Valentine's Day, Utah Refugee Connection is collecting the little Valentine's kits that kids give to their classmates.
We are also giving with those kits reusable lunch bag that has a pair of gloves, a pair of socks, and a hat to keep them warm, and a little go-go squeeze and some heart-shaped glasses, something kind of fun to help them just better understand the holiday and feel welcome here, feel like they belong.
Executive Director Amy Dott Harmer says they're taking donations of $12 to pay for those bags. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
We have more information about how you can help on our website at kslnewsradio.com.
First look traffic now, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
And right now, I-15 is struggling coming into downtown because of a crash on the right shoulder at 1300 South. Jackknifed semi on southbound 215 over by 700 North has traffic backed all the way up to the Davis County border. And we've got rain slowing you down as well through a little bit in Midvale. Although surprisingly not that much impact on the drive through Utah County this morning. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Crews broke ground this week on a new Children's Justice Center in Ogden. It will replace an outdated facility that's located in a building that was built in the early 1900s. Workers there say it's far too small for the number of cases they handle. The center serves kids 17 and under who suffer either sexual or physical abuse.
The National Suicide and Crisis Hotline is struggling to keep up with demand. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The nation's Crisis and Suicide Hotline estimates they've helped 7 million people in the last 2 years, but employees are starting to get burned out. The agency says it's getting harder to hire and train workers to man the 24/7 call lines. In some states, more than 2/3 of employees have left within months of their first call. The job can take a high emotional toll on workers. Some employees have reported increased anxiety, depression, and even nightmares. Others say they feel unqualified to even take on the intense calls. Regardless, there is still someone on the other line, and the agency encourages anyone in need to call anytime. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
A new at-home workout is trending. This one uses candles, jammies, and your favorite TV show. Social media influencer Hope Zuckerbrow calls her creation Cozy Cardio, a way for women to reclaim their relationship with exercise.
Cozy looks different for everyone, but my version looks like ambiance lighting, the flicker of a candle, the taste of my favorite protein coffee, or the comfort of the show I'm binging. I just applied that to my exercise.
But see, when you're comfortable, you don't feel like exercising, right?
To me, this ranks right up there with hot cardio, or no, hot yoga,
Yeah.
sorry. Which also sounds like a terrible idea. Zuckerbrow says that Cozy Cardio won't give you six-pack abs, but it gets you off the couch.
Leg lengthening surgery is on the rise. I've never heard of this before. ABC's Ashan Singh took a look at the cosmetic procedure.
We haven't seen how this plays out on a long-term basis, and the prognosis for infection, the prognosis for back, knee, leg problems. The recovery process for a procedure like this is definitely intense. It takes weeks, if not months, for the patients to get back on their feet. They're limited to walkers. They're going through intense rounds of physical therapy and all types of recovery processes to be able to walk normally again.
The surgery is primarily being performed on men.
We had a physical therapist reach out to us on our text line, and they do it incrementally over time, a millimeter at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my goodness. Big slowdowns now on the I-215 West Belt, southbound from Legacy past the airport. We'll see what's going on there with traffic and weather together next.
Spend time with KSL News Radio and get a deeper understanding of the world around us.
I do listen to KSL so much because you've got voices like Boyd Matheson.
I listen to him every day.
You can trust him.
Inside Sources, weekdays 1 to 3.
On KSL News Radio.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails from people all the time. Here's one. Dear Dan, I hear your talk about a lifetime service guarantee. Free? Really? Please help me avoid all your fine print and be honest about what free means. You understand that we should be very wary of a free offer. Signed, Skeptical. Hi, Skeptical. I remember 22 years ago when we started PC Laptops and our lifetime service guarantee, people thought it was too good to be true. Well, after a decade, people started believing me a little bit. But it's been 22 years of having the privilege to serve our friends and neighbors like you. Our lifetime service guarantee has become the most trusted warranty in the industry. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop computer, and they start at only $29 a month. Check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Here's to seeing you soon, Skeptical.
When's the best time to plant a tree? It was 20 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? It's now. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I remember years ago being sent home from elementary school with a small tree in a styrofoam cup. I know some of you can relate. If that was planted, it's now bigger than you are. Your finances are the same way. The best time to get started, or the best time to get a second opinion, is now. And with time and patience, imagine how big your financial tree could be. 20 years ago, if you invested $1,000 in Apple stock, it could be worth over $500,000 today. That is a big tree. Do that for you and do that for someone you love. Call Trajan Wealth today and help us help you plant that financial tree.
Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600. Or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
The rain we're seeing today, just the first of many storms that are coming over the next 7 days. We'll tell you more about that coming up in a minute. But first at 8:09, let's see how it's affecting your drive. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Andy.
A little bit of slowing increasing on I-15 around 1300 South. The crash, though, involving the semi. The semi's gone, although Highway Patrol's still sitting on the right shoulder. So you'll see reduced speeds between South Salt Lake and the 6 South exit. Starting to see traffic stacking up southbound on Wasatch Boulevard as well, getting ready to go into Little Cottonwood Canyon. The canyon is open, and at least for now, no restrictions going into it, so plan on that. Jason?
The semi is not gone southbound on the west side belt at about 700 north. It's jackknife and still blocking that right lane there, so stick over to the left, but you're going to find some delays that are stretching back almost all the way to Legacy at this point, so you want to stick over on I-15. However, I-15 is starting to get bogged down as well because people are using that as an alternate route or just staying there, not going over to the west side belt. Anyway, so that's going to be slow right now from the north interchange down into Salt Lake City. Eric?
Just some usual slow spots in Utah County, getting over to the freeway from Saratoga Springs, Pioneer Crossing, and Lehigh's Main Street a little bit busy. It's actually better on 2100 North at the moment, going over from Redwood Road. And if you're in Orem on 800 North, you've got some stoplight intersection slowdowns as you head west over to the freeway from the mouth of Provo Canyon. Now, if you're heading into Provo Canyon, we don't have any problems on I-189, at least not as far as accidents or delays. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Rain in the forecast today, 45 the high. Could pick up a good amount. 34 overnight, rain, snow showers. Tomorrow goes mostly cloudy with a 40% chance to see a shower, 42. 43 and partly cloudy on your Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Temperature's down a little bit now, 42 degrees in Salt Lake.
Coming up in just a moment, we'll speak with Debbie about this proposal that would let your new teenage driver drive with friends in the car in the first 6 months of their license, which right now they can't do.
It's a little nerve-wracking.
We'll talk more about it in a moment here on KSL News Radio.
Stay with us. Remember, you'll always find us streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. All right, so tomorrow you get to go see Fiddler on the Roof.
I am so excited. I love everything I see at Hale Center Theater. It's always my favorite date night with my husband to go to Hale because what they do there is so magical that you are completely engaged with the experience. You're not worrying about your kids. You're not worrying about money. You're not worrying about anything. You are right there. And I can't wait to see Fiddler. You told me it was awesome.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, the way they treat this, the production value of it is just over the top amazing in that center stage. But here's the other thing, and it seems like a small thing to many people, but it never is to me, that they always find a way to incorporate live music. Mm-hmm. And in this case, there is an actual fiddler on the roof who, pops up from time to time, and it just makes it so special, actually, to see that. And you're so familiar. Everybody knows the music, tradition.
Tradition.
And if I were a rich man. The whole crowd just starts bouncing in their seat when it happens. But it's one of two productions that are showing. Over on the Jewel Box stage, you're going to get to see Clue. So if you played as a kid and you were Colonel Mustard, with a dagger in the laundry or whatever it happened to be, you get to play along, and that one's just a lot of fun.
Plus, what would be great is to get season tickets to the rest of the 2024 season as a Valentine's Day present and just say, honey, I just want to spend the evening with you on these nights. So mark your calendar. Here we go.
And in November, it's Beauty and the Beast. 801-984-9000 or go to hct.org.
Do you enjoy fishing, hunting, or just soaking in the beautiful outdoors? Then you need to check out the KSL Outdoors Show, airing Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. and midnight on KSL 5 TV. Outdoors with Me, Adam Eagle, is a unique show that takes viewers on a journey through Utah's beautiful backcountry. Watch it live every weekend or find the Outdoor Show on YouTube, KSLOutdoors.com, Facebook, and Instagram. It's the KSL Outdoors Show, brought to you by Camp Chef.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-DO.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
They say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. You may not have that kind of time for weatherization, energy efficiency, and appliance rebates, but we do. Dominion Energy's ThermWise program has experts who know where and how to save money. They help homeowners and businesses find simple ways to conserve natural gas and rebates through upgrades that may help to save even more. We put our energy into helping you conserve it, so you can spend your 10,000 hours becoming an expert in what matters to you. Start with a home energy plan at thermwise.com.
Dominion Energy's ThermWise program experts help you save money. Start now at thermwise.com.
KSL News Time, 8:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
rain is here to stay through tomorrow, with buckets coming down in southern Utah, moving north into Saturday. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, the legislature is considering whether to make it legal for teenagers to carpool with their friends right after getting their license.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
I-15 traffic continues to be an issue, although now it's southbound coming in from Davis County on I-15, where, as earlier when we had a crash at 13th South, it was on the northbound side. The biggest delay, though, southbound 215 from Legacy down to I-80 coming out of Davis because of a jackknifed semi. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Off and on rain today, a break over the weekend, then more rain. I'm Matt Johnson.
We have rain and 42 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Now look at our top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. New numbers from the Labor Department show hiring remained strong last month. Another 353,000 workers were hired. Here's ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
Despite some layoffs at high-profile companies so far this year, the overall American jobs market is in solid shape with hiring accelerating. Now, there are still signs that some Americans are more worried about their job prospects. The number of workers who are quitting is at the lowest level in 3 years, which is a sign that workers aren't as positive about the prospect of getting a new job if they leave their current one.
The strong report could delay any lowering of interest rates during the next couple of Fed meetings. President Biden at Dover Air Force Base today for the dignified transfer of remains of those 3 U.S. service members killed in a Amman, Jordan drone strike. Possible life-threatening rain and wind, also increased threat of mudslides across much of Southern California thanks to an atmospheric river that will drench the state for days. ABC Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee takes a look.
Timing-wise, Sunday, 7 a.m., it is heavy right along the coast. Los Angeles, Anaheim, Burbank into Monday morning, that's drive time. That's really tough. And we don't see 1-2 inch per hour rainfall rates very often, but we'll also see huge snow above 7,000 feet. And we're going to be talking about this all the way through the next midweek.
The governor of Connecticut, Ned Lamont, has announced a new initiative to use COVID stimulus funds to help wipe out more than $1 billion in medical debt statewide. It primarily targets people below the poverty line and those whose medical debt exceeds 5% of their income, says the governor.
This is not something they did because they were spending too much money. This is something because they got hit with a medical emergency. They should not have to, suffer twice, first with the illness, then with the debt.
Members of the Senate say they're close to finalizing the bipartisan border security package. Could begin voting on it as soon as next week. You're listening to ABC News.
All right, this idea that your licensed minors won't have to wait 6 months to be able to drive alone with their friends in the car?
I think the majority of Utahns are already allowing their kids to take at least one or a couple of friends in their car with them, even though the law restricts it. And actually, Representative Kara Birkeland, who's sponsoring this legislation, Tim and Amanda, took the words right out of my mouth. She said that. She said, I think the majority of Utahns don't follow this law to begin with, which right now restricts new team drivers, just got their driver's license, from taking a friend along or friends along. This change in the graduated driver license law would allow a new team driver to take one friend with them. And it sounds like this was a compromise, that originally it was maybe, unlimited number of friends, and that it's been whittled down to one friend. I think it's happening anyway, and I think the kids who are getting pulled over for this are maybe having issues keeping their driver license if it's a violation of that.
I could be wrong because I can't confirm it just, but I thought at least what I've threatened my child who's learning to drive right now is if you get caught, you're going to lose you're not going to get your driver's license.
You could risk that
for a longer time.
And there's definitely a fine associated with it. But there's a lot to think about with this, other than, hey, it would be easier for our kids to get places if they could take a buddy along, especially if they have to go long distances, which is part of the argument behind this legislation. And kids who are driving long distances in rural communities, maybe they don't have a sibling to take with them, and they have a friend they're commuting with to a basketball game or,
school.
Or for even a school event. The flip side of this is that it is very clear through looking up statistics that the majority of crashes in Utah are caused by teen drivers. And I looked back through the data. 2022 is the latest information I could find. 15,000 car crashes in Utah with a teenage driver behind the wheel, or 20 and under behind the wheel. The older we get, the fewer car crashes we cause. By the time we're 85 years old, we're causing less than 600 car crashes a year. So it's very clear from the data that this gives us a lot to think about. And we'll be talking more about this today, starting at 9 on the David Dujanovic Show.
Yeah, I'm 65. I'm finally getting a cut in my insurance rate.
You're not the problem.
I'm considered safe. All right, Dad, look forward to it. David Dujanovic, 9 to 11 for a Friday show. This portion of Utah's Morning News is brought to you by Revere Health.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Back to you, Andy.
Amanda, travel through Salt Lake County northbound. Some slowdowns, 33rd south, 13th south. It's not as bad as when it was the semi that crashed was still in traffic. But we do have some backups now, a lot of it going south on Wasatch between Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons, and quite a wait to get into Little Cottonwood, even though it is open, and currently without any restrictions to chains or four-wheel drives or traction devices. Jason?
Well, up north, your commute has been pretty good all week long, so go figure the day when it rains, that's when we start to have trouble. Southbound on the west side belt, jackknife semi at about 700 north, and it's blocking the right lane there. Delays stretch back to Legacy Parkway, southbound on I-15, of course. It's also slow from the north interchange down into downtown Salt Lake City. The rest of your highways and side streets up north are looking good. Eric?
Well, if you're heading out to Park City this morning, we do have good movement on I-80 eastbound out to Kimball Junction, but if you exit there, southbound 224 is starting to get plugged up going by Canyons, and if you're on US 40 heading into Park City using Kearns Boulevard westbound, that is also slow. That's pretty typical, and it has been all week long. I-15 Utah County, that's looking good this morning, northbound from Provo to Lehigh. That's a 20-minute drive. You'll spend 33% of this year on your mattress. That's almost 3,000 hours. Start sleeping comfortably on a new Tempur-Pedic mattress from Two Brothers Mattress. Learn more at twobrothersmattress.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. We've got rain today, 45 the high. Tomorrow, 42, mostly cloudy, and a slight chance for a shower. Partly cloudy, 43 on Sunday. We're back at it with rain showers on Monday, 50 the high. Up to 51, 10 above the normal on Tuesday. Rain showers likely. We keep rain in the forecast for your Wednesday. Rain, snow showers by next Thursday. It looks active. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, raining downtown, 42 degrees in the 7-day forecast, brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Do you love a rainy day?
I do, actually.
I do, too.
Yeah.
I don't know if I always felt that way.
I don't like a rainy day on the 10th rainy day in a row.
Oh, maybe that's it.
But if it's a nice rainy day, particularly in the spring,
yeah,
that I love.
I love a rainy day. I mean, I even like just getting the umbrella and going out for a walk in the rain.
Yeah.
I don't like taking dogs for a walk in the rain. No, that is some mess to clean up when we get back home.
Yeah, because they smell funky when they come back in the house, too.
That's right. We're going to take another look at money news just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Made to Shine. Love stories from Shane Company customers.
My wife's been working long weekends, so instead of just taking her out to dinner on Valentine's Day, I'm going to surprise her with a gift from Shane Company. I stopped by, and they showed me some really beautiful diamond heart necklaces. Right away, I knew that'd be something she'd love. I hope it reminds her how much I love her every day.
Our diamonds are hand-matched for consistency and sparkle, so your love will shine forever. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Revere Health is dedicated to making healthcare easier and more accessible by offering the latest technologies to improve the patient experience. We offer convenient telehealth appointments so you can receive care from the comfort of your own home. We also offer an online patient portal called Follow My Health that enables you to manage your healthcare online. When you download the Follow My Health app, you can exchange direct messages with your doctor, view lab and test results as soon as they are available, renew prescriptions, and review upcoming appointments. If you're ready to schedule your annual physical for 2024, we've made that easier too. Revere Health now offers the ability to schedule appointments online for primary care and select specialties. Visit our website at reverehealth.com to learn more or to schedule your next appointment online. Through these convenient solutions, Revere Health demonstrates its commitment to quality, patient-centric care every day. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner for life.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Representative Celeste Malloy joins us live in studio today. She's trying to make sure that federal dollars go to women-owned small businesses. Representative Malloy today, live on Dave and Dujanovic.
We are watching Utah's Money on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Lululemon is branching out and launching their first ever men's footwear line. The athletic apparel is growing at a slower rate than it has in the past, so it hopes the casual and performance sneaker line will boost sales.
Americans are asking, where's the beef? New numbers from the USDA show that ranchers have the least amount of cattle since the 1970s. It's raising beef prices across the country. They're expected to be more than $5 a pound this year.
Peloton shares fell 24% after the company warned investors it won't turn a profit for a few more months. The interactive exercise company had mixed results for the holiday quarter, but retail partnerships with Dick's Sporting Goods and Amazon turned some good results.
You know, I was thinking back on those statistics about the lowest number of cattle since the 1970s. Remember during the pandemic, we were doing stories about how feed for cattle was really tough to get.
Yeah.
And so the ranchers were faced with this decision of whether to keep their entire herd or sell them off.
Because they couldn't feed them.
They couldn't feed them. And so it was a conundrum for them. And so this actually dates back several years.
Interesting.
On where we are today. The markets are down, at least on the Dow. It's off 91 points after a big day yesterday. The S&P has gained about 17.5 this morning, closing in on 0.4, and the Nasdaq is up 0.75% or 115.
Your money at this moment, the markets are mixed right now. The Dow is off 91 points. That's 0.25%. We're at 38,427. S&P's up 18. That's 0.4. The Nasdaq up 122. That's 0.8.
And getting slower for skiers out there headed to the canyons. Yeah, there's new snow to play in. We'll check traffic and weather together next.
Sometimes when our furnace stops working, it's something simple we can fix ourselves, if we only knew how. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the next time your furnace stops working, before you call a company out to fix it, try this first. Go shut the furnace down and make sure your air filter is clean. Go around the house and make sure the vents are open and there's nothing blocking the return air. If it's been a while since you've changed the batteries in your thermostat, go ahead and do that too. Then go turn the furnace back on, and if it stays on, you're probably good. If it stops working again, you're probably going to want a technician to check it out. If you don't know one, Any Hour Services has a special offer for any homeowners listening. One of our HVAC technicians will diagnose and troubleshoot your furnace for only $29. Then they'll explain what they found and present you with repair options. And don't worry, our technicians service all brands. Call Any Hour Services and let them know you heard about this $29 troubleshooting special on the radio. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Now we know.
November 9th, 2024, BYU and Utah will play in Salt Lake City.
281 days until the rivalry game.
Touchdown, Cougars!
281 days of anticipation.
And the Cougs are right back in it.
Hear about the key matchups and feel all the emotion on this station. We are Utah's legacy home for the Cougars, Big 12 football, and Rivalry Week. KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time 8:29, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here again is Andy Farnsworth.
Well, northbound 15 delays have cleared out, but we've got delays going into Little Cottonwood Canyon, quite a bit of them, as a matter of fact, even though the canyon is open. On the west side of the valley, Mountain View going south in West Jordan, north in West Valley. Jason?
Same problems remain as you travel southbound on I-15 from the North Interchange down to downtown Salt Lake City, and also over on the west side belt. It's not quite back to Legacy now. It's looking a little bit better, but we still have this jackknife semi southbound at about 700 north, causing problems out by the airport. Eric?
It's still wet going out through Parley's Canyon this morning, but we don't have any delays on the eastbound side. Once you get off Kimball Junction off of I-80 and go south, that's when you're going to see some slowdowns going down towards Park City. Same is true if you're exiting US 40 and going west on Kearns Boulevard. That's SR 248. In Utah County, the pace is normal from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain. That's a 24-minute drive, but you got wet patches there, too, on the freeway. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
And the weather forecast says rain, and more rain. We've got rain today. We have a lesser chance of rain Saturday and Sunday, but then more rain Monday through Thursday of next week. Right now, it's 42 degrees downtown.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio.
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 8:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
All's well that ends well in West Valley City after a mountain lion ventured a little farther downhill than expected.
It happened near 40th South, 5200 West, where we find KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
I don't know if you've ever tried to help a cat out of a tree, but Daniel was right not to help this one.
I kept staring at it while I was talking and kind of seeing the tail move. I'm like, that's a friggin' mountain lion.
He tells the West Valley City Fire Department he even got his dad and brother to come out just to make sure that's actually what he was seeing.
They both said the same thing. Yeah, what the hell?
This is just the latest in a string of cougar sightings in the Salt Lake Valley. Wildlife experts recently told me it's possible some deer are headed into the valley to look for food away from the snow, and some cougars might be following them. With this one, though, he was safely removed and can hang out in the trees now much farther away from this one. In West Valley, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A water and sewer line break left a giant mess in Sandy, but residents are grateful for the response. Here's KSL TV's Andrew Adams.
Angela Profsgaard says she came outside to find a river gushing down Silver Sage Drive. Profsgaard says as bad as it was, the disaster could have been even worse.
I have this infrastructure of people, community, and public servants to come and respond.
Other residents are extremely grateful for city crews who responded.
Teens could get to drive their friends around a lot sooner after getting their license in the future. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston explains.
State Representative Kira Birkeland says this is about practicality.
It's very common, especially in rural communities, when your kid's going to drive a half hour into a city to carpool, to have them ride together. I know as a mom, I don't want my 16-year-old driving at night by herself.
Birkeland proposes letting 16 and 17-year-old drivers take just one non-family member with them in the car. No wait period needed. This rule change would fit national standards, according to Utah Highway Patrol Colonel Michael Rapich, because it's a single passenger. However, the Utah Zero Fatalities campaign notes that teenage drivers are twice as likely to crash when a friend is in the car. Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. The bodies of the 3 U.S. service members killed in that drone attack in Jordan are returning home this morning as the Pentagon finalizes its plans on how to respond.
A somber return. Just hours from now, the bodies of Sergeant Kennedy Sanders, Sergeant Brianna Moffett, and Sergeant William Rivers will be arriving at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. There to meet them, the families of the fallen soldiers and President Biden. This as the U.S. now finalizes its plan for its multi-day, multi-target assault in retaliation for the deadly drone attack in Jordan that took the lives of those soldiers and left at least 47 other service members wounded.
That's ABC News Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz reporting from Jordan.
KSL weather with Matt Johnson. The rain's coming down and southern Utah is getting soaked.
Leeds with 1.04 in the rain gauge. Enterprise, 3/4 of an inch. St. George, 6/300. You get into Cedar City and it's anywhere from 1/3 of an inch to 4/10 of an inch. And up in northern Utah already picking up 1/10 to 1/3 of an inch. And we're expecting more across the Wasatch Front.
We'll be getting rain throughout the day.
A political action committee trying to extend the deadline for people to oppose Utah's new flag. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with that story this morning. Michael?
Tim, this PAC claims the progress to adopt the new flag was full of problems. Mainly, they argue some packets signed by those who wanted to restore the old flag were tossed out because a few signatures on the packet weren't signed on time. Additionally, if your signature was invalidated because the packet was tossed, you can't sign again. Signing twice is considered a misdemeanor. The PAC since sent a letter to Lieutenant Governor Henderson not to enforce what they're calling a quote-unquote unduly burdensome provision. The old flag is still slated to be officially replaced in early March, though. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
Amanda, the big delay is over 215 coming south from Legacy Parkway down towards I-80 to go to the airport. We've got a jackknife semi that's caused all this slowing. The northbound side of things is good on I-15 after having some morning delays, but there's a lot of wait to get into Little Cottonwood Canyon right now, so be ready for that. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Colorado-based Sierra Space is testing its Dream Chaser, which is an autonomous space plane to take supplies and experiments to and from the International Space Station.
The work is happening in Northeast Ohio.
The work we are doing will change everything.
Sierra Space Chief Tom Weiss.
We've done a great job on the planet building worldwide infrastructure for runways. We're accessing all of those. So if you can land a single-aisle airliner, you can land a Dream Chaser.
Its wings can unfold in space, allowing the craft to be placed atop a rocket and reused. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
The moon is shrinking, and it's affecting how scientists at NASA are planning manned missions. KSL News Radio's Dale Spaulding has the story.
Heat up a balloon and it gets bigger. Let it cool and it shrinks. That same principle also affects planets and moons, but our moon has scientists scratching their heads. Not only is our moon shrinking, but its outer layers are brittle, making it much easier to create moonquakes. Scientists want more information on these quakes, which have forced lunar landslides.
This comes after both Russia and India tried to land spacecraft at the moon's south pole in search of water.
Well, Philadelphia stunned the Jazz last night. Back here in Salt Lake City, they even did it without Joel Embiid. Tyrese Maxey was the guy. He scored 51 points to lift the 76ers over the Jazz. It was a close one, though. 127-124, the final.
The Deer Valley World Cup is happening this week in Park City.
The Masugas from Park City have 3 sisters on the U.S. ski team with hopes to one day all medal in the Olympics. Last night, Sister Allie placed in the women's freestyle moguls, while her family cheered her high place finish. Siblings Lauren and Sam also are members of the U.S. ski team. Brother Daniel hopes to one day join his sisters on the team as well. Mom Amy says she's in it for the support. Travel's not too bad either.
I went to Japan, did a stopover in Malaysia to see a friend, and then went to Venice and on to Cortina.
That's where Lauren competed at the Audi Ski World Cup, placing a respectable 16th, 22nd, and 15th at the Super G. Deer Valley World Cup runs through Saturday and is free. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
Yeah, the aerials, and then I'll tell you the one everybody loves is the dual moguls, where they come side by side down that course. Goodness gracious. It's like drag racing on skis. But you're going to get your chance to be there tonight and tomorrow night. Remember, it's free. Dress warm, and it really is a ton of fun. Southbound delays continue going to the airport on I-215 westbound as a jackknife semi is still on that right-hand side. We'll check traffic and weather together next.
Bigger stories demand more accountability, more experience, more trust.
If it's like an election day or we're expecting some bad weather,
KSL presents the story. Unbiased.
It's a good local source.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
The Utah Department of Health and Human Services wants to make sure people in Utah can live safe and healthy lives. To do that, they need to understand which services people can access in their communities and what barriers they face to accessing services where they live. For this survey, they want to hear from people in Utah, specifically people older than 60, adults with disabilities of any kind, or caregivers and service providers of older people or adults with a disability. The results will be sent to the Division of Aging and Adult Services so they can better meet the needs of people across the state of Utah. Take this survey at utahcommunitysurvey.com or by calling 800-293-1538, extension 1610. All information will remain anonymous. Again, that's utahcommunitysurvey.com or 800-293-1538, extension 1610. 800-293-1538, extension 1610.
How do you feel about teenage kids being able to drive their friends around a little sooner than they used to be able to? There was like 6 months or something they had to drive before they could.
You know, I want to give them every chance to live. And if having kids in the car threatens their life because they're more likely to crash, then I don't know.
Yeah, and those statistics bear out the fact that they're a little more at risk early in their driving career, as all of us are. Anyway, we're following that story this morning, and David and Debbie will talk about it when they take over at the top of the hour.
8:39, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon, Andy.
Amanda, travel through the valley looks good on the northbound side of I-15, and coming out of Tooele on I-80, we finally got that crash cleared on the ramp going from eastbound 80 to 215, or at least it's not having an impact any longer, the one that was on the transition ramp. We do have delays, though. Mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon, both on 9400 South and on Wasatch Boulevard as it splits off onto Little Cottonwood Road. Jason?
Delays remain in place over on the west side belt, trying to get past the airport. That's due to a jackknife semi at about 700 north on the southbound side. Also, still over on I-15, it's fairly congested from the north interchange down to about 6th north at this point. Southbound I-15, though, further up in Layton, Kaysville, that's rolling smoothly. No problems on 89 or Legacy. Eric?
We're seeing a little bit of delay southbound I-15 going past 2100 north down to the Lehigh Main Street exit. That's the only spot of slowing we've seen so far this morning. And on the northbound side, everything is looking good. From Provo to Point of the Mountain from University Avenue, it's a 20-minute drive up to the county line. Getting into Park City, slow down southbound 224 off of I-80 and westbound on Kearns Boulevard from US 40 into town. Prioritize your marriage and celebrate your relationship. Celebrate with a virtual date at the Utah Marriage Celebration, Friday, February 9th. Register at StrongerMarriage.com. That's StrongerMarriage.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Periods of rain today, likely 45 the high. Overnight will go 34 with rain, snow, showers. Tomorrow, 42, mostly cloudy, and a slight chance for a shower. 43 and dry on Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right back to where we started the morning. It's warm out there, 43 degrees.
Imagine you're a refugee kid. You're in 3rd grade, and you're trying so hard to fit in. You've never heard of Valentine's Day. You didn't know you were supposed to bring little Valentines with little Snickers bars or whatever to your classmates. There is a group that's trying to help these refugee kids fit in specifically this Valentine's Day, and we need your help. Well, I'll tell you more about it just ahead.
We'll tell you more about it next. Streaming live, of course, at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. You know, inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Because you never know what you're going to find. National Product Sales, known as NPS, or a nice place to save, is treasure hunting at its best.
Arg!
Sorry, not that kind of treasure hunting.
Aw, shiver me timbers.
Instead, this is the time and place to discover great values every single day. And this Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Visit while they're live on location. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes in new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit NPSstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. NPSstore.com.
Arg!
A nice place to save.
NPS has brand new products with savings of 30 to 70% off every single day. Go to NPS. KSL News Time, 8:45. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
authorities in West Valley City were able to remove a mountain lion sitting in a neighborhood tree. Experts say the warmer weather could be driving some of the recent cougar sightings. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, a stunner for the Utah Jazz, who lost by just 3 points to the Sixers at home.
Third, it's traffic and weather together.
Well, we've got delays still on I-215 and I-15 coming out of Davis County through the North Salt Lake into downtown portion. SR-201 beginning to back up a little bit more again around Bangerter and 215. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A nice rain soaker today with highs in the mid-40s. Then we'll break things up tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
We've got rain and 42 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Let's get a check of our top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Labor Department says 353,000 workers were hired last month, way above analyst expectations. That's good for the overall economy, but, says ABC's Alexis Christoforous, not so great for hopes that interest rates will be going down soon.
The reasoning behind cutting rates would be to juice the economy and to get us spending again. We're doing that without the help of the Federal Reserve right now, even in the face of higher interest rates. So those who were hoping for lower interest rates in the coming months may have to wait a little longer because the economy, especially the job market, remains very strong.
Worries about a too hot job market keep Wall Street in check. The Dow down down over 100 points. The West Coast getting drenched or swamped with snow, depending on where you are. An atmospheric river is set to drench California in the next several days, bringing life-threatening levels of rain and an increased threat of mudslides. Bodies of 3 service members killed in that drone attack in Jordan returned to the U.S. today. This is ABC News.
Let's go in depth now. Utah Refugee Connection is hoping you will have a heart and help provide Valentines for refugee kids.
Executive Director Amy Harmer says this is an attempt to help these kids understand a holiday they probably did not celebrate in their home countries.
We feel strongly about exposing refugees to the holidays, but also using those to create a sense of connection and belonging. So in March, we're having an International Women's Day event where we'll provide lunch and have music and some fun for refugees from all over the world, and it's open to individuals to come. We have a Mother's Day event where we actually help with car seats. We have a back-to-school event where people can donate backpacks, and then we have a large carnival to get refugee kids excited for school. Last year, we had about 2,000 people come to that carnival, so it's pretty remarkable. We do a Halloween event where we provide costumes. Now, if you want to talk about freaky holidays, that's one that's hard for refugees. And so we try to do it in a way where it's not traumatizing and we're sensitive to the trauma that they've been through and give them opportunities to have costumes like everyone else, but without violence and gore. And then we have a large holiday event called the Gathering of Light.
Oh, wow. They do this all year round.
Yeah.
But they also have another event that's coming up next.
Next Wednesday, we have an event with the Ukrainian community. We have what we call cultural nights, where we invite members of the specific refugee communities to come and share their experience and tell their story. And we invite the general community to come and listen. And instead of us telling you about refugees, you get to hear directly from those individuals what their experiences were, what's helpful, what's not helpful. You know, repeating over and over again louder when someone doesn't understand is not helpful. It's a great way for us to understand more about what they have left behind and the culture that they love, and then try and find ways to incorporate those things into our own lives. We're really good at reaching out and inviting people to go to our church or our social activities, but it's kind of fun when you can go and learn more about their food and the things that they love.
We've got the details about how to help on our website, kslnewsradio.com.
And you were just on a little while ago looking into it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I follow them on Instagram now, so you can see all the things that they need and what's coming up. It's Serve Refugees on Instagram.
And there's a cute little girl there that's all decked out for Valentine's Day. That's great stuff. See if you can help. It's 8:49 coming up on it. Time for us to get another look at how the drive is doing. This look brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Wet roads all morning, and I guess we better get used to this, Andy.
Well, if it's going to continue like this, but so far we managed to get through the morning, at least in Salt Lake County, with minimal delays on I-15. It is starting to bog down again in Draper and some in Murray, about 5300 South if you're driving through either of those two areas right now. 201 a bit heavy from 3200 West to 215. And the biggest wait in the valley, at least down at the south end, is going to be trying to get into Little Cottonwood Canyon. Jason?
Well, not exactly minimal delays over on the west side belt if you're on the southbound side. We'll call them maximal delays. From about 7th North, where this truck is jackknifed, all the way back up to about 2300 North is where you're going to be really heavy. Also over on the I-15 southbound side, it's going to be a little bit slow right now, still from the North Interchange down into downtown Salt Lake City. Eric?
Well, we do have wet roads in Lehigh, and this is at least partially part of the problem. You see water kicking off tires all over the place. We do have some southbound slowing going from 2100 North down to Lehigh's Main Street. Oddly, on the northbound side, we're not registering any delays, although it seems just as wet. The rest of I-15 Utah County looks good. Getting over to the freeway, usual congestion on 2100 North and Pioneer Crossing. Get the best Valentine's gift ever, a Minky Couture blanket. Save 50% by using promo code KSL50 in stores and online at minkycouture.com. Minky Couture, the best Valentine's gift ever. Eric Butler, the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-8 forecast. Today's storm is definitely on the mild side. 45 with off and on rain today. We'll go 42 tomorrow, mostly cloudy. Slight chance for a shower. Sunday, partly cloudy, 43, up to 50 degrees, breezy out of the south on Monday. Chance for rain showers. Rain likely Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Temperatures in the 50s and 40s. We drop it down to the low 40s with a slight chance for rain and snow showers as we work into next Thursday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
We do have rain and 43 degrees, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Cougar Sports Saturday coming up tomorrow at noon, and it's going to work out perfectly to lead right up to our pregame coverage as BYU goes on the road to take on West Virginia. And what did Mitch say this morning on Cougar Tracks? It's the first time since the 1930s or 40s?
Or 40s, yeah, I think it was the 40s, that we've played them.
Yeah, and so
it's about time.
It is about time, and it's another Big 12 big game. So pregame at 3, the tip-off at 4 right here on the home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
We had a really strong jobs report this morning. We'll see how that's affecting the markets when we check Money News coming up next.
It's the dead of winter, and our friends at Advanced Window Products have a wonderful wintertime offer. This is Jeff Kaplan. If the cold is seeping into your house right now, Nate and Jake will give you $2,500 off on double-pane windows and the highest quality custom frames built right here in Utah. Any style, any color, and the $2,500 is atop their already low prices. See, they build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So there's no middleman markup. At Advanced Window Products, they offer 0% financing. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage in the dead of winter while the wind is whistling and give your home, your number one asset, a fresh new look. Plus, you save money on heating and air conditioning, so much so the energy companies offer rebates. Buy local. Their factories right here in Salt Lake City. Save an extra $2,500 off the best windows and frames in Utah. 801-850-9100. 801-850-9100 or visit advancedwindowsusa.com.
2 years ago, Americans watched in horror as a crisis unfolded at the Kabul airport.
She was tear-gassed and beaten.
Images of thousands desperate to escape Taliban oppression filled our news feeds. More than 80,000 Afghans made it to America. But the story didn't end there.
It was very cold. There was no power, no heat.
Who would help our newest neighbors? I'm Andrea Smartin. In Stranger Becomes Neighbor, you'll hear the stories of some remarkable refugees who left their homes and their dreams behind, only to start over from zero.
Their only possession was 3 blankets.
And you'll meet Americans who stepped up to help them.
You want me to come when you deliver your baby.
What can one person do in the face of an international disaster decades in the making? That's Stranger Becomes Neighbor. Find us at kslpodcast.com. Follow us on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you listen.
Are you looking to get a COVID-19 booster to stay healthy this cold and flu season? If you join the Beehive study, you'll have the chance to receive up to $550 for getting a booster and completing weekly COVID tests and brief surveys about your health. Don't want to get a COVID-19 booster? That's okay too. You can still join the Beehive study and receive up to $550 for completing the weekly COVID tests and surveys. Help advance research at the University of Utah while taking care of yourself this season. Call 801-203-0320 or email beehivestudy@utah.edu to learn more. You can also visit the study website at beehivestudy.com.
If you're struggling with your mortgage, there's a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Representative Celeste Malloy joins us live in studio today. She's trying to make sure that federal dollars go to women-owned small businesses. Representative Malloy today, live on Dave and Dujanovic.
Let's take a look at Utah's money here, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Quaker is expanding their recall once again, now including the Quaker Chewy Dips Llama Rama bars. Any six-pack box with a best before date of February 10th or 11th should not be eaten.
Amazon is reporting better than expected revenue and profits for the fourth quarter thanks to holiday shopping. The e-commerce company said it earned $170 billion in revenue and $10.6 billion in profits during the last 3 months of 2023.
2.2 million Teslas are being recalled, and it's an interesting reason because of font size. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says it's too small on warning lights, and that can make critical safety information difficult to read. the vehicles with the problem are going to get a free over-the-air software update.
So you don't even have to take it to the shop. It just zips right to you.
Yeah, and for somebody like me, I've actually experienced this, but I only have glasses for reading, right?
Yeah, right.
So I don't wear them when I'm driving, but I do have a hard time reading
That's
sometimes
interesting.
what's on the dashboard, so it could be a distraction as well.
Yeah. Let's get a look at your money at this moment. The Dow is off 67 points. That's a little less than 0.2%. We're at 38,455. The S&P is up 27. That's 0.5%. The NASDAQ is really flying this morning, up 174. That's 1.1%.
Starting to stack up a little bit now. I-15 southbound through Lehigh. Southbound delays continue on the West Belt as well. So we'll get one more look at traffic and weather together when we come back.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we've represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
Offices in Midvale and Clearfield. 1412 South Legend Hills Drive, Suite 200, Clearfield, Utah, 84015. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.